Thank you, Jody.
New clothes, guys.
Welcome, everyone, to the Thursday, July 17th meeting of the Village of Lansing Staff and Board of Trustees. My first order of business is for roll call. Susan Ainsley.
Present.
Pat Gillespie. Here. Carolyn Greenwald.
Here.
Kathleen Yin.
Here.
Bonnie Hardaway's here. So we have quorum. Okay, for today, we're going to start with you, John.
Okay. How's everybody doing? We've been just, we got Don sign up at the park that he got in. We've been working in between the weather and the blacktop plant to get the water breaks repaired that we had over the winter and spring and stuff, and it's so intermittent. The plant is so intermittent. The problem is we need onesie, twosie tons of asphalt, and going a long distance is really tough for us to keep that 1 or 2 tons
Small.
warm enough to make it workable. So we've been working with that and getting that done. We've been mowing. It seems like this year the intersections are getting really full of brush. So we rented brush hog and we kind of just spaced them back a little bit. You can't really get in there and cut because there's a lot of poison ivy around this year.
Okay.
It's an exceptional year for poison ivy.
Interesting.
And it must be the moisture or something. And that's why we haven't gotten the signs installed down there on Cuga Heights at that corner.
But you're thinking about it.
Yeah,
Never mind.
we're going that direction, but we have to do something with the poison ivy. So, let's see. We had the radar signs installed up on our Dart Drive and set. We should probably consider about raising the speed limit up to the state standard of 30 miles per hour instead of the 25. I don't know how the 25 ever got allowed or put in there, but it's been that way. So I'll work with Jody on, if you all don't mind, I'll work with Jody on changing. Her and I are gonna update the highway book together, and then we'll bring the changes to Natalie and then the board. But does anybody have any concerns with bringing that speed limit up to 30?
I have a concern. I don't know how valid it is. I know that the preschool down at the east end is supposed to go back, transfer back to Cornell, but it seems like it's still in use. And I think that might have been the impetus for the original lower speed limit.
I think that was it.
Once they go away, I don't have.
I haven't come to discover that. And typically school zones have their own standards.
Yes.
And they fall under the manual uniform and traffic control devices. They fall under a total different parameter.
Right.
It's a
Crosswalks and.
I think we looked at this before. They didn't qualify for a school zone speed.
Okay, all right.
The other factor in that is it's an intersection. People are typically slowing down when they approach the intersection.
Stop, yeah.
And when they turn the intersection, when they turn off Warren Road.
Slow down.
They're usually starting to get speed. By the time they get enough speed and it's flat in that section, they're not really coasting. The sections we have the most problem with is the long straightaway down through before you get to the corner. And so that was my only thinking about putting it back to the village standard of 30 miles per hour. And it's basically a state standard that way.
Okay.
You have to petition the federal, state government, Albany, to, and they'll either warrant or deny the application for a reduced speed limit below 30 miles per hour.
Right.
Now, your school zones are a little different because there is guidelines for that, and as long as those guidelines, and it's a bona fide school program, not more of a daycare, you know what I mean? So that was my thinking, and the village speed limit, other than 40 miles per hour, and like 40 miles per hour on Trip Hammer, I can't think of another spot that is higher than or lower than 30. Burdick Hill, I think, was one of them. That's like 40 or something like that. So that was just my thinking. I mean, we don't have to do it right now, but according to the data I sent earlier, when we had the data collecting signs up there, and we do, these two signs that we have up there now do have data capability, and we have them, we have a slow flash at 30 miles per hour, we have a fast flash at 35, and then we can do some data, we can collect the data, we can do some research on it, I'll provide it to the board when we get it. So I think we should do, a solid month's worth of data before we really kind of make any determination, at least a month's worth, maybe even longer, so. But that was just my thought, is to put it back to 30 like everything else is in the village.
UCNS is moving.
I'm sorry?
UCNS is moving.
Yeah,
Their lease runs out this summer.
okay, so,
So in the fall, they'll be out in town.
yeah, that's, okay.
They're going to the town.
They're going to Lansing United Methodist.
Okay.
They've already got a contract with them.
Oh, okay.
That's,
At the church or the one they own on Burdick Hill?
At the church, they sold the Burdick Hill property.
Okay.
Mike, question for you. Is that a permitted use, or once they move out, can another school come back in under that?
Talking about Burdick Hill?
The one on,
Oh, up there?
The UCNS,
so that's a permitted use. Another one could come right back in there?
Yes.
Okay. I mean, that's something to think about, if they moved out and somebody else wanted to venture. It's a Cornell property,
yes, it is.
I think Cornell's selling it.
yeah. Oh, they
I
are?
think that's their intent.
Okay.
I'm sorry, what was
Cornell is
that?
selling it.
I couldn't hear.
I think they're
selling it.
to sell.
That was my understanding, but they didn't say, they haven't, I don't think they have anyone lined up to buy, but, or at least it's not announced, so. John, let's collect data
Yeah,
for another month, and next month at the August
okay.
noon meeting, let's
Yeah.
make a decision.
Yeah, I really don't have time to kind of sit down and do a bunch of paperwork right now. I'm trying to figure out on updating the law anyway. So let's just collect the data, we'll go from there.
I think that's a good idea. Thanks.
I finished some drain repairs on Dark Drive from the project. We had a water break up on Northwoods Road. That was, we finally got that one patched in too, but we had that, was 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago or so, something like that, so. White's been fixing a fair amount of leaks, it's not just a winter thing to have water breaks anymore, it's just the volume of water they're pumping, I don't know what's contributing to it, the age of the lines, there's just a lot of factors to that. They got the crack sealing done in the village, we're working on the trails, on Lansing Trails 1 in between Craft, Janivar, and Leaseway. Had a little issue, as soon as we got up there this morning, fired up chainsaw, had a little issue with the property owner. There's some dead ash trees, they succumbed to the ash borer beetle. And I talked to Peter and Natalie a little bit. I mean, I don't understand why the guy I understand the whole process, because I'm all about birds and all that stuff, bugs, but these are good, if they fall, they're gonna fall right on a shed. So, and I explained that to the gentleman, and I said, I'm gonna talk to the village attorney and see if if you don't want the village to cut them, we may have to have you sign a release, you know what I mean?
Yes.
And indemnify the village, and indemnify the pedestrians.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
right.
So, I talked to Peter a little bit, sent him pictures of the situation, and, we're gonna go from there.
Okay.
There'll be more to come, but we're not up there to destroy the aesthetics to things and what nature needs to survive up there. We're there to do a job and be tasteful, you know what I mean? And that up there is full of ivy, poison ivy, and a different kind of ivy that can cause some, because now this new stuff with your phone, you can pretty much identify any plant, and so there's some species I haven't seen up there before, so we're really cautious. Most of it's done mechanically, it's not like we have to send a guy in there, but, poison ivy is bad for people. I mean, some of these things can be activated by the sunlight in your skin for many years to come.
Yeah.
So we're really cautious about that, and this being a very prominent year for the ivies, poison oak, poison ivy and stuff like that, so. But other than that, we were tasteful, we went by his house, we cut the trees that were gonna fall into the trail. That was my main concern, is the, limit and, any liabilities, to the village, so. That's all I really have. There's a couple things I wanted to chit chat with you, about. The streetlight at Wakefield Churchill.
Yes.
I really don't see the need there. It's a dead-end road.
I drove this, it made no sense to me.
Okay, and I mean, you're looking at a financial commitment for many, many years. We find this out because, like, in order for them to depreciate the fixtures and the power and the maintenance behind this, they tie it to a 30-year contract,
Right.
basically. So if you want out, if some latest and greatest,
You have to buy out.
will have to buy out. And if you look at the NICEAG bills, there's a LED conversion
Yes.
buyout that we did, and the board approved it back 2 years ago, I believe.
23.
Yeah, so, and we did we wouldn't have typically done all the LED conversions, if the village owned the infrastructure.
Right.
But back at Wedgewood, Essex Court, Highgate Circle areas, that was sanctioned under the NICEAG owning all the fixtures, the poles, and the wiring. And it's a massive buyout to buy all that infrastructure out if the village wanted to become the owner of it. So what we did an LED conversion, and it cost a few $1,000s to have them convert. But it's really good, because they were having a lot of issues with them old fixtures, the ballast capacitors in there, and they were having a lot of issues. So it was chronic outages down there.
Yes.
And since they've done them, and they just completed, since they've done them, I haven't received any outage complaints yet. So it's great, and it's a full cutoff fixtures. There was a 3,000, the Keller temperature was 3,000 Kelvin. So it's the best of both worlds. That's where the village is going, is 3,000 or less on the Kelvins.
Okay.
If anybody doesn't know, that's the Keller temperature of the light. So I really don't feel the need for it there. If she's thinking it's a trailhead, the trail's not lit, so we don't want to encourage pedestrian movement, at least to the trailhead, and then total darkness after that.
Right, we
I would
have to light-
rather have them keep them to the sidewalks, and that's it.
I was also concerned with the, sometimes with the passive voice in English, you can make it seem like it's something that everybody's unanimously in favor of. And I reread the letter saying, after I drove to it, I reread the letter, because if I lived there, I would not want the light there. So then I reread the letter to say, is the group in favor of it? And it's unclear from the letter if it's really one person or everybody. And I think, we should reply, but also I think that we should further investigate, like, how many people are truly interested in the project. It might be.
Right.
In my opinion, I don't really think we need to do any more investigating on who's in favor of it. It's whether it's warranted or not. And to me, we light the intersection. We have a Cobra Head street light at the intersection by Swarth House across the road from there. And it truly lights the landscape around the intersection. It illuminates the signs enough for people to be able to understand, well, okay, this is Wakefield Churchill Road, we can pull in there. You know what I mean? But once you go up in there, there's 3 houses towards the end. There's one right at the end, 2 on the right side, if you can include the one that's at the beginning of the intersection. So there's 5 houses there, roughly. And it's, if you travel the road every day, then you know there's a corner there. You know what I mean? And one of the other issues is that's a right-of-way by use road. And years ago, we looked, when Dave Putnam was here, we looked at the water line infrastructure that's in there. And we basically have no easement for the water line. So that whole setup configuration is like right-of-way by use, which we have grounds for that. But it doesn't fit the tax map kind of layout, and which we know they're only a guide some aspects, but I just feel like we're there by water, we're there by sewer, we're there by road.
Okay.
Lighting is a totally different.
Right.
Will you reply, Ronnie?
I'm sorry?
Will you reply?
Yes, I'll probably pass it through the trustees and John to make sure I've got the wording right. But I'll just say that we were, it's not practical from a financial standpoint, and we don't feel that it's needed because there's adequate lighting within that area for that corner. And it's a right of way by use, and therefore we should not be installing anything on the properties.
So, and then another thing that I looked at too is the location of the telephone pole that's there where you would energize the light from. The Cobra head would have to be super long in order to light the corner like they're requesting anyway. That's the intersection of Wakefield and Churchill. So it's kind of off to the one side. So we really have no energy supply there to do a ground mounted pole. But I really don't think it's much to reply to, Ronnie. I just think that we reviewed it, and at this time, it's just not practical or financially sensible.
Right.
It's just it, and that's it.
I wonder, just throwing out a thought, would it be possible to put any kind of a reflective sign there to let people know that it's a corner and they're turning into something that's not your normal road configuration?
I mean, look at the signage there, because, I mean, we could make sure we dead end it. I mean, so there's two types of no outlet signs, dead end, no outlet. No outlet is when you go into an area that there's no outlet. Perfect example is Beckett and Wedgwood. There's no outlet other than the one you drove, the boulevard that you drove on.
Right.
And then when you turn right on Essex Court, that's a dead end.
Right.
So that's how that criteria falls as far as signage is allowed.
Okay.
That one there would basically be dead end, and it's already there, so.
Okay.
I mean, I feel like we could probably put a little something at the corner there, but, I mean, I will tell you, that's where all the infrastructure goes up, it's all the high voltage infrastructure goes up, the sewer, the water, and everything goes up to, like Warren and Northwoods area from there.
Okay.
So it's kind of like an easement area, so there's a lot of infrastructure in the ground. Putting signs up is sometimes problematic.
Okay, all right.
That's all I have for that, so I feel like you could write something simple to.
Yeah, I will reply to the email.
I already talked about the property owner issue, and then the only thing I really have, I guess, is grant for the sidewalk. So for potentially Uptown and Craft. The only one I really felt like fell into the criteria of the program was Uptown. It serves a purpose. And if you look at some of the information I sent you, it basically, it's to reduce carbon footprint, basically, motorized vehicles. So the one on Dart Drive, or the one on Craft Road really isn't, they want destinational stuff, like residential to a B&T park. And so if somebody doesn't have to drive their car, they can get there by non-motorized vehicles.
Okay.
And I really feel like there's nothing on and trails aren't allowed. And I really feel like there's nothing on Craft Road. I mean, maybe a little bit if we can get movement up this way to go to the doctor's offices.
Right.
That would be the only thing I felt like would conditionally be warranted for the grant.
Where on Uptown do we need?
The Uptown one is from the Nissan dealership up to the park.
Up and around.
Yeah, and what that does is, we already have a trail system in the back
Right.
of all the apartments that bring them down in between Bishop's Mall and the McGuire Chevy dealer.
Right.
We already have that trail system that brings University Park apartments up towards Uptown and Burleigh. They brings them down around through the back of the old Shadow Claire, which is Trip Hammer Apartments.
Yeah.
Back of that, and then down through where Bishop's Hardware Store used to be. There's a church there now, and then back down. So I felt like maybe you could warrant that by that loop around there.
You could also talk about how many people live in those apartments,
Yeah,
and children,
yeah.
and there's a lot of things we could talk about for that.
But for the grant, you're looking at, it's the carbon footprint reduction. You're basically trying to get movement for people that would normally use a motorized vehicle as a form of transportation. You're not looking a kid could take a school bus, you know what I mean, or something like
No,
that.
but I'm thinking that people who live in the apartment getting down to the stores.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely that, but just keep in mind, we have the trail system there.
Yeah,
And
and
they're
getting
gonna want to
down.
know all that information when we're doing the grants.
They're gonna ask about the trails?
I mean, well, you have to be, they're gonna probably want to list all the trails connecting infrastructure around that. So, I mean, we could definitely try. It's a 50% match on, what did it say?
50% match because we're not a disadvantaged community on this particular.
Disadvantaged community, that was the key word, disadvantaged
So-
community. In some communities that don't have, that are disadvantaged, they get maybe 100%.
What kind of costs are you looking at to get it to shovel ready so we could apply for the grant?
You don't have to have it shovel ready to apply for the
I
grant.
thought you did.
No, all you need to
Did I
do
say
is,
that?
You need to have a
plans?
clear need, articulated critical need, that it does connect to your hubs.
yep.
He didn't say it had to be ready, I thought he did.
No, Jerry Sheng didn't say anything about being, is that his name, Jerry Sheng?
But
Yeah.
you need, so you need your plans.
We have, I'll have
plans.
a plan set.
Perfect.
But I don't think that, I don't think.
And
you
a
need-
budget,
You just need to
a
fill out the
proposed
paperwork
budget.
saying, this is what, it's connecting the 2 points of interest, and then the need, you know?
And your benchmarks.
So a map outlining the project
Timeline.
area and what vehicle miles traveled will be reduced.
Because I pretty much basically asked him right out.
Design
what-
drawings are not necessary, you're right, I'm sorry.
Yeah, what level of plans do you need? There's
Okay.
design development, which is 50% completed plan sets, or full bid plan, ready to bid. And he pretty much come back with that and said that we don't, he was confused, but he doesn't need any plans. So this could be, at any point, you could apply for a grant right now. I mean, you basically have to show the 2 points that you're connecting and the need, and that's it. So feel free to jump right into that.
And then you also need a proposed budget.
Yeah, I'm looking at that right
Which would
here,
have that.
the expenditure budget.
Yeah, we have all that. That's our
They have a template.
proposed and approved.
So the work plan, they've also got a template for.
I mean, we can
Yeah.
add it in. We have a template already. I sat through about 3.5, 4 hours worth of plan review the other mornings, Monday morning, so, and painful sometimes, but there's a lot of infrastructure in the ground that makes things difficult. If we would have known 30 years ago or 40 years ago that we want to put a walk through here, it'd be easier. Janiver Drive, we talked about setting it up for a potential walk down the road from the intersection Craft to the Vatopka Trail at the corner at, I think it's 30-ish Janiver Drive. You have a sewer system, sanitary sewer collector line on the west side of the road in the shoulder. You have a water infrastructure supply distribution line on the east side. And in order for you to put a sidewalk in, you need to do the drainage and then work to the sidewalk. Well, we need a certain separation between all this infrastructure. Because even though it's storm sewer and potable water systems, they don't mix. So if you have a water break and there's low pressure for some reason,
You don't get
you don't get cross
contamination,
contamination.
yes.
Exactly.
John, let me ask you a question. So you saying you have the information, not necessarily in the form that we need to put it, but the information to fill out the forms for the grant. How far are you from being able to fill out the forms if we were to do Uptown and Craft? So Uptown, you have all the information ready to go. We just have to fill out the forms. My question is, should we do both at the same time? Not together, but separately, but submit two? Double our chances of getting one.
I feel like the money's allocated for both projects. You could split it up, right? The budget is allocated for both projects. We were gonna do them tandem. So one contractor do both areas. That way you're saving money on mobilization, you're saving money on bonds and all this other stuff. And that price ultimately gets reduced by two different contractors not having to get two different bonds. All that money pulls from the expenditures of the village. So to answer your question, I'll help you in any way I can to get your information. I think we're pretty close as far as going to a bid.
So if we wanted to, we could try to do both at the same time. I mean, if we wanted to, we might not get,
Different application?
yeah, that's what I'm suggesting. I'm just throwing this out there as an idea for you guys to think about.
I
Should we
feel
do
like it's a
both?
good question for Jerry Shang to whether do them separately or together.
I was thinking separately, but I was thinking two. There are different rationales for each one, and we would say different things. I don't want to lump them together because I think our chances of getting, I wouldn't want to hurt one for the other. And, you know, agencies are funny things. Sometimes you have like a certain shot that's so obviously this is the thing, and then you get this other, you know what I mean? Like, this happens all the time.
And you might be
other-
able to do one application too, though.
Oh, well, that's, well, okay, well, that's fair.
That's the
The issue,
question.
issue with two applications is that the grant management from our standpoint doubles. We have to track two different pots, grant pots, and report on those.
It would seem like if we were theoretically to get one, a cost savings, because we'd be saving money that we were going to spend anyway. So
This is what I think we should do.
I didn't want to make it too hard for John, that's why I was asking.
I understand, I understand.
We should speak to Jerry about the best direction, whether if you're only allowed one application, or if we can split two different areas up. They might not allow one application for two different areas, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I understand what you're saying, because if that one really is sketchy on whether it qualifies, and that one's the real deal.
I wouldn't want to make that one
you
look
know what I
bad.
mean? It just, I feel like, well, maybe we only try the one that's really fits the criteria of the program.
Just to keep Susan and Pat in the loop, there was some emails that went around, I don't think that you were on them, but I volunteered to submit it, because Ronnie asked who's gonna submit it, and I said, if you guys want, I will. It's not necessary that I have to be the person who does it, I just volunteered. Kathleen's equally, or perhaps more qualified. Do you want me to work with John and Jerry and do this?
Well, I think,
Go ahead, Susan.
yeah, I think we need to follow John's lead because, and,
Oh, all the information comes from John.
yeah, so Jerry's input because that's his area of expertise, and John because he knows the infrastructure and what's possible.
100%.
Let's work together, we'll figure it out.
But definitely check with Jerry first to see if we should.
I'll ask him the question of two versus one, should we just try for one? But, okay, so then it seems like there's consensus in the room, especially from you, John, that we should at least go for the Uptown one.
I agree.
Because it makes sense.
Can try.
And maybe the other one, if Jerry thinks, why not go for two, you never know, or if he thinks it hurts the Uptown one, then no, or lots of other, or if he thinks it's not worth the extra.
Once we bait the
Implementation.
hook, though, I feel like we should make sure there's no strings attached for perpetuity,
Okay,
okay? We don't, some of the park grants, like, if you get one grant for one, there's strings attached for all of them.
okay,
And it can make it quite interesting if you have to do something down the road.
okay,
So-
I will definitely ask that question.
And I think, did I contact everyone about the park inspection? I thought I'd let you know. That came out of nowhere.
I mean,
And
Basically,
then that's a good reminder,
yeah.
no strings attached. I think we always have to be mindful.
Yeah, and that part,
These-
I don't think we got a ton of money, and there was quite a long connection
Yeah.
between that grant money
Yeah,
and perpetual responsibilities on the village's half. I mean, those subsidies sometimes can be very difficult to pay for them after a short-term assistance from another,
Yeah, grant money is not free money,
yeah.
in spite of how the public may perceive it.
It definitely changes the parameters of the paperwork you have to do. I mean, we
Yes.
have to follow like, comptroller's guidelines and stuff like that. But when you have to do grant money, sometimes you sit on a lot of paperwork, additional paperwork for a long time to get any refund.
Yeah, and only be disappointed if
Yes.
things change,
right.
because we've spent the money.
Right.
And it is a competitive grant process. You can submit as many projects. There is currently no limit on the projects, even though that may change.
There's one. from
And
the
there,
town of
my,
Ithaca, correct?
pardon me?
There's one from the town of Ithaca or something, city of Ithaca?
City,
Okay.
But, there is a person at DEC that you can contact for their CSE program. You can contact directly with very specific questions, in addition to contacting Jerry, to see, is it allowable, not allowable? And there are requirements for, and this gets into your grant management issue, there are requirements for, everything has to be completed within a time-year period.
With the what?
Everything needs to be completed within a time-year period, the project.
Timer, so if you.
So it's a
approve project
timing
above
issue,
bid-
which is why they ask for that timeline.
Yeah, that one really, right there, that one makes it real difficult, and the reason being is because the village has a kind of a split year budget cycle. And when I mean a split year, it's almost a split. The one fiscal budget year of the village goes into 2 construction seasons.
Right.
And you're never done. We're still trying to put the pieces together for the water line.
So
Dark
regarding,
drive infrastructure improvement.
the status of Uptown versus Craft, you mentioned the infrastructure issue with Uptown.
No, that was with Janivar, so we scratched that one off.
Oh, okay, but Uptown, there's no infrastructure
Oh,
issue.
there's a ton of infrastructure up there. They did a water line improvement replacement project, I'm gonna say in the 90s.
Okay.
So the data, topography, information has changed because of improvements. So we were just gonna kind of go off from this bid, off from that infrastructure data, but we're gonna have to send a surveyor out there and recapture things again. Trees have grown up, signs have been installed. I mean, signs for like the apartments and stuff like that.
Okay.
And they're not in the right of way, but you need all that information to mold the.
So what was the projected timeline for completion of the Uptown project?
That's the problem. We bid this out in June this year. If we bid this out the end of July, get it awarded in August, you have 2 months to start a project and finish it. You're August, September, maybe in October, you're gonna finish it next year. You're gonna get most of the infrastructure in, and then next year you're gonna go for the completion.
So it would be completed within a 5-year period?
I thought you said 1 year.
No, 5.
We could do that.
That's, oh yeah, the 5 years not an
Yeah,
issue. I
no
thought you
problem.
said one.
So-
We can do that.
I understood that to be 1 year too for some reason.
Oh, did I say 1?
I didn't hear you say that.
I didn't.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
I said 1?
yeah.
5. Oh,
That totally changes it, you know?
Wow.
Forget the last 10 minutes.
I will. No, it's a 5-year period.
Okay, that
Yeah,
totally
no
changes.
problem with either of these? Okay.
No.
All right.
We want to be done in 1 fiscal year, which
So-
is 2 summers.
So you're thinking Uptown is approximately 2 years and Craft?
What I mean by 2 years is basically 2 summers.
From 2 summers, yeah.
1 year, I would expect.
Yeah.
Across two
But
calendar
across
years.
two years.
yes.
1 fiscal year, 2 calendar years.
And then which one are you more ahead with in terms of your planning?
We're about even with both of them.
Okay.
Because they need to be even in order to bid them out together.
Okay. And in terms of infrastructure issues with Craft?
Yes, it's tight. We're gonna have, the way the water line goes up there, so you have a storm sewer and you have a water line. And when you install them, you either like to run perpendicular or parallel spaced apart. It's gonna run like this. So if you have a water, so that it elongates it, right? So when you dig a hole for a water line repair, you're into the storm sewer infrastructure.
Right.
You know what I mean? So they cross at elongate. So the meeting that we had Monday was, I give them some ideas on how to put the storm in so we can be more perpendicular crossings and then offset the storm. And that's what we accomplished. We don't have it's not engineering smart sometimes because you don't have the access to maintain it. If you have an issue with the storm sewer, it's jetting problems, stuff like that to clean it. But sometimes you have to make things fit, you know what I mean, and compromise. So that's what we've accomplished Monday during that meeting.
Okay, so we can,
I feel like we're okay.
okay,
Yeah.
so we can follow up on
Yeah.
next week.
Can you send me, you said you have already?
I don't have a plan set. I
Oh, you
was
don't?
reviewing on Zoom exhibits,
Oh, okay.
okay? So we don't have a bona fide plan set yet, but we're close to being able to punch the button and putting in a plan set. Here's where I would go with this. We need to go in the right direction. Let's get 95% of the paperwork filled out on the grant. Let's get all the account number we need from,
From the budget?
no, the account number that Jerry mentioned. We need some kind of,
Oh, you have to have an account, yes,
So-
yeah, a state account to apply for
so
the.
that's like a big hurdle. That's not an easy task to do. So we need to get that.
It's-
Ask Jody what it was, and
When I did not want to complete that online, but it was pretty simple, your name, email, and the municipality you're representing. I didn't want to start that and then have confusion about who was going to submit. I just wanted to see where to start, but it looked like a fairly easy way to get the account number.
So the village does not have one currently?
We don't have one current
Okay.
CFA account, I believe.
Yeah, CFA account, exactly. And then we need to have a dedicated applicant. And one of the things that you should do today, if you read through the emails, you have to do a board resolution on the applicant. That was the biggest one that I read in the email, was who is gonna be the applicant. So the board would need to do a resolution on behalf of the village. Carolyn will be the liaison on the grant application.
We can ask Natalie to,
We could do that Monday night, too, if we need some time
It
to.
says, I do want to point out
the sample is right
that
here.
whoever the applicant for the CFA, will either need a resolution or a signed letter from an authorized municipal representative. So it sounds like that, she's an authorized municipal representative anyway. And I'm attaching the resolution template,
Yeah, I'm reading it right now.
yeah, to indicate that they can submit on behalf of the village. She's an official,
I
I
mean,
don't
we
know if
can-
you need that resolution, I'll send you that.
Don't you?
Do need a resolution,
You also need a resolution to submit,
yeah.
Yeah,
which is different than the resolution to authorize. I mean, we don't need the
Because
resolution.
we can't enter into contracts individually.
that's right,
even
Jody
though-
was copied on this, I'll send you, I'll reply to the email excluding Jerry, just so we can bring everybody up to speed. And I'll copy you two on it real quick.
Thank you.
That's all I really have. I
See,
mean,
for me, I feel like the hardest part is coming up with the estimated costs
Oh, that's
and the
easy.
project area work plan.
We're already done.
But that's what I was asking you to send to me, and you said you
Oh,
don't
yeah, I
have
thought
it
you said
yet.
the plan set.
Oh, no, that's what I wanted you to send me.
Oh, we put that in our budget process.
Oh, if you have all that to send to me, that would be super.
Okay, let me write that down.
So just looking at his email,
You need a budget, cost,
estimated
Proposed.
costs,
And a work.
project area, work plan, and then I'll work on what is the argument for reducing VMT, so that'll be like my contribution.
work plan, meaning a map of the general area,
And what
what
we're
you're
gonna put
connecting.
in, and what we're gonna do there.
Right. Work site.
And then he'll probably ask us for more details once we supply that. But the hard part will be just the justification portion, which you can help me with, maybe.
The justification?
Yeah,
I don't really think so. I mean, you're connecting hotels or
you
apartments.
gotta spin your story.
Will do.
You gotta spin your story.
Yeah, and you have to use the right keywords.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, yeah, absolutely. That's.
You have to look into
when you
it.
go to
I currently
grant
don't have that
application
information.
course, It's all about keywords.
Oh, yeah.
Because I
Yeah, yeah.
they're AI reviewed.
I think you're right.
And, yeah,
Well, why wouldn't they, yeah?
human AI, but they would do the same thing. They would do search for keywords. Because a keyword missing, go back and try to find another word, and then after a while, they stop, and they don't
Just
even.
think of how many municipalities apply for grants in New York State, and that's why I feel like they're screened by the first initial AI, they go on, it's like an application process for employment.
Probably now they do.
But I think keeping it as simple as possible, as few words as possible, makes it clearer, at least for us on our end, understanding what we're asking for.
That's where I'm gonna leave that up to her, to spend that, so.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll search the resources, because it's not something I've done previously, but I'm happy to learn how.
Is there basically an online application? I didn't happen to go that far to look at the application, but is it an online application? And
Yeah, they've got the questions on there,
so there isn't really a
Yeah.
whole lot of
so it's just,
dialogue as far as the need.
No, you're filling boxes,
Oh, okay,
I suspect.
okay. Something like the seeker thing, kind of.
Very similar, yeah,
Yeah.
it's something similar.
All right, I'm good. That's all I have. Any other questions?
This is good.
And we will try to have the resolution for Monday night's meeting put together for either one or both, for the spending the money, or making the application and designation of the applicant.
Does it have to be that entailed, Jody, the resolution, is something like they could do now, or?
they have templates.
There's a template, we can just
They have
read it.
templates for the resolution.
Okay,
You'll need to send that to me and I can include it with the agenda.
propose Carolyn, if you can pull it up, read it, propose the wording. If you read it directly, then when you send it to Jody, Jody can just,
Want me to read it right now to you?
yeah, just read it right off there.
Okay.
And insert your name where applicable.
Whereas the Village of Lansing hereby requests financial assistance from the State of New York Climate Smart Community Grant Program pursuant to Environmental Conservation Law, Article 54, Title 15. Whereas the Village of Lansing certifies that it is identified, oh, we need the number, we need a dollar here, of matching funds. So actually, let's hold off on that for a second.
Okay. Well, we can come in and say that it's a friendly amendment to change, to insert the
I
dollar
just wait
amount.
and do it on Monday when you have everything together.
Then we get that. So can you figure that out before Monday, John, the dollar amount of matching
Yeah, it's not,
funds?
I mean, we can just pull it off our budget.
Okay.
We're not going to lose that much time waiting to Monday to do it right.
No, I agree.
Jody's suggestion is good.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's the kind of snags you'll run into when you get to the application process, too.
Well, remember you said that.
So the amount requested is what we need.
And the source of,
Amount requested,
yeah.
Yeah,
I'll look at the
thank you.
resolution.
The budget numbers might give you an indication too, so.
Yeah, but I mean, Donnie and I will work Monday morning to figure this out, because you might qualify for some of the storm sewer infrastructure. It's not just the sidewalk that you might qualify for.
Gotcha, yeah.
You might qualify for a lot of different things. So we'll work for that and try to get a requested amount.
Okay, all right. Thanks, John. Anything else for John?
Any questions on the invoices or anything?
The Sierra pickup, has that been delivered or is it in?
Delivered.
Delivered, okay,
They surplus the one last on the 7th of July.
okay. And I was going to ask about the streetlights and LED conversion, but you already answered that. No other questions from me.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
Mike?
Well, my apologies for being late. Mine's not as exciting as John's is, so
We can make it exciting if you want.
maybe if you would. I bring you up to date, International Code Council, they're still meeting, I think in Kansas or Kansas City someplace, I'm not sure, it doesn't matter. We haven't received anything as far as decisions on, like the last time I spoke with, sprinklers and single-family housing, all that kind of stuff. I should know more after our quarterly STABOA meeting in August or September. At that point, I should be able to bring you up to date on what it's going to look like. They should have something, I say they, as in the ICC, should have something finalized if they really want to have this active by the beginning of 2026. So we'll see on that. Locally, you've got Community Bank, Adelia's, and Ross that are also looking to open up next month. All three of them are looking to be done at that point. They soon to be, community's almost ready. They could open up anytime. The planning board is working on our local zoning. Some of you have attended that, and they're going through uses and the type of use in each district, whether it needs to be there, whether it could be included into something else. I don't see them touching much on that they may give you an overview on Monday's meeting, but I don't see much as far as details go. I found it very interesting that you get people's ideas on the board of why you should be in there, or this definition doesn't make any sense. We have some definitions that overlap. We also have some definitions that seem to be out of date. And then we also have items that aren't even covered in any of the uses. So it's stay tuned, because I think it's going to get pretty interesting, and I think they're on the right path to get things done. There's a couple items that I'm not ready to discuss with the Board of Trustees yet that I've had. I briefly touched base with Ronnie on this. Items like I'd like to see, I had an issue with Carnival when I was here. I had an issue with the Carnival even before they got here. It's not so much the work and the inspections, because the Labor Department handles looking over the rides, all that type of stuff. And the food trucks and all that gets handled by the Health Department. My concern is when they set up like the Hoovervilles out back. I don't know if any of you saw it, but they had trailers lined up in the back parking lot of the Pyramid Mall. With those trailers, you have, do they have holding tanks for sewer? But that's not the biggest problem, but the gray water is my issue, coming off the showers. There were several times, I went there almost every day, there were several times that either the hose wasn't in the containers that they have, or the containers are overflowing. And by the time I get a hold of somebody that's in charge there to get it fixed, they're only here 2 or 3 days. So they don't care. I mean, I can't do anything 2 or 3 days to stop them without standing out there patrolling with them. So I'm trying to come up with some idea whether, if we allow carnivals, that's fine, but we don't allow trailer space. It's not a trailer park, first of all. We don't allow trailer space or something like that. You know, people to live in mobile units in certain areas or whatnot. I haven't come up with anything yet, but I want to be able to have a shooting solution to present to you. Another issue that I have been having is with a lot of complaints about Lake Watch. They'll have pop-up events that make tremendous amount of noise, and I get complaints that the last one was they had a party at midnight
At the rec center thing?
at
The tennis?
the Lake Watch,
tennis court?
the old North 40. The one.
It's just go this side of Booker's, the Booker's.
Oh, that thing, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'm thinking of East Lake, sorry.
And the way our zoning is written, is there's not a lot I can do after the fact. And something's got to be changed. I mean, you can't continue to say, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have done that every time it happens. When there's no repercussions or anything. So I'm trying to talk to Natalie about what can be done, what we can put in maybe our zoning laws to, not so much punish, but, you know, hold people responsible for doing, you know, having loud noises and parties, and especially people that keep continually doing it. So I'll have more about that.
Maybe look into a point system like driver's license. You get so many points and then you get fined.
Okay?
I bet Natalie will find that other municipalities have language,
Something, yeah.
like if you were found in violation on this night or something.
Please put in a good word for the DPW up there when you do all that.
Something I don't know about.
We have a lot of water breaks up there, and it's chronic to get harassed, so.
I've been trying to schedule a fire inspection for up there, and
Yeah.
I'll get no response, so I just sent out a certified letter to her.
And everything goes out on the Facebook page, and you just get wheeled through the mud, so. But we got broad shoulders. It's 2 out of 3 of us.
We had drunk by our ankles through the water.
So what are your issues with them, the water breaks?
Oh, it's chronic. I mean, they blamed our equipment when we had the sewer project over on the other side for losing half a dozen catering events. Wedding events. We had a water break in the lawn, and I put these guys through torture. I'll tell you what we did. We had green we had a water break there and they had a wedding the next night, and we went up there and cleaned it up, and I had them shake green pulp on it, just to kind of,
Make it pretty.
yeah, I mean, usually you can't even do anything near a water break for a week, because it's so spongy.
Spongy.
You know what I mean? It's just chronic. She was down there drunk and dragging all over our Nick when he was down in the hole, and I said, you have to get back away from our site, and I almost actually called the cops.
Well, I mean, that's an old structure, and it's got issues, and I think we should address them.
Well, like I said, when I get a fire inspection up there, they should have one every year, and I had noticed they got skipped for a couple of years a while back, so I'll get back up there.
Well, because it's dangerous. I mean, it's dangerous for you guys.
Yep.
Matter of fact, they had a flood inside the place. That's the last time I was up there, and that was a couple of years ago.
What had happened was the water line blew off, or was starting to leak, and they took some chains and binders and tried to pull it back on, and they left it, and they never fixed it again, and all one day it blew off and filled the inside of the event right full of water, so it was coming out the windows. Anyway, I don't want to say any more than that. I've said too much.
The mall parking lot situation is to a point where I do have an appearance ticket, and Natalie is writing up the papers to serve them. So that's where we're at with that. It's a long time coming. Let's hope something happens to get that resolved. I have received a few more questions, and I don't know whether you have made a decision on this or not, but about what happens when people, how long they have to hook into the new sewer system. And I touched base with you, Jody, and you on that. Is there something, we were talking about at one point, something about, do they have to come in and get a variance? Do they have to do whatever? So go ahead, John.
I had a lot of stuff on my mind, and Jody and I talked about this Monday or Tuesday of this last week, about setting a definitive date and mailing a letter to them that they had, from this point forward, you have 3 years to start entertaining the connection process. Natalie was working at one point on how to handle somebody that applied for a variance, a temporary variance, and I'm not sure that ever got resolved, but.
She said, because I asked her about that.
Okay, perfect.
And she said that there's already something in our law. They can apply for a variance, but it's only for 6 months.
Okay. We were gonna try to do something, because there's a couple houses that have been built within the last 15 years. And they probably have, I know they have an improved septic system, because Mike would issue them a CFO or CFC. So they're gonna probably, we talked about it at one board meeting about adding something in there that if their system was less than 15 years old, they could have an engineer inspect it every year and document back to the village. It's kind of like the variance, but we did talk about it. And we had talked about it in a lot of the Zoom meetings we had with the attorneys at the time.
But you're right, it's already in our local zoning that you have 3 years once it's available. And then the variance process is all in there, but as, like you stated, when does that start?
Yeah.
So we need a point of when that starts.
Yeah, I feel like during the project process, there's parts of completion levels, 10, 20, 30, 40% completion, and that gets to a substantial completion. Probably should have had something, when it's substantial completion, generally you can hook up. So we ought to add something in there that we have projects like this in the future, that they end at final payment or something like that. That's the start of a definitive 3-year deadline.
Because they would have all gone through all of the inspections and so forth, and it's ready to go before you pay for it.
On final payment, you're basically taking ownership of it.
Yes.
And it's operable, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good suggestion. It's a logical suggestion.
My last item would be about a BZA member, I'd like you to take a look at.
Okay.
Lynn Leopold, it's Mike Wallish. Lynn Leopold interviewed Mike. Mike has just some background on what he's around here is he's been here, he had a high interest in when East Point 2 was going to come in. He lives up on Norway. Very nice guy to get along with. He's very interested in how the BZA system works. I highly recommend him. I did send you his qualifications. He'd sent,
Yes.
his somewhat resume and his apologies that he couldn't be here to be interviewed. But we are getting short of attending members for the BZA, and I could really would like you to approve him so I could set up it's kind of quick, set up a meeting for next Tuesday.
I will make a motion that we appoint Michael Wallish as a member of the BZA, Board of Zoning Appeals.
A second?
We have to replace Devin, correct? Because our BZA is full.
Yes, Devin has.
Okay.
Devin has disappeared.
Oh, interesting.
We can't get a hold of him.
Okay.
So,
So I will rephrase that proposal. I propose that we appoint Michael Wallish to replace Devin Walker as a Board of Zoning Appeals member.
Second?
Susan seconds. Any questions, concerns?
No, and there was also a recommendation by Lynn.
Yeah,
Everybody got, so.
so I think we've,
Do you have to
He's
do
been
an
vetted.
official termination of this other guy that's MIA?
doing it in one reservation.
We do.
one thing.
yeah, we do.
Because we can't find him.
Yeah. So it's been moved and seconded, no questions, no concerns. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, Mike.
Thank you very much.
We have another Mike.
Add them in, keep adding them up.
All right. Thank you. Anything else?
On that sewer thing, do you want to do a resolution on the,
So I'm going to put it in my notes that once we do the final payment, we will set the date
the final payment's been paid
for what?
on Zachary, on the sewer?
Oh, for Backery?
Yeah,
I think we should just then, yeah, let's go ahead and do a date.
today.
Why don't we, when did it start? Or do you want me to make it like August 1st or July 1st?
August
That's-
1st, and then I would send a mailer out that, to each people affected.
We have a list that we can contact easily, Jody.
I can come up with a list for you if you'd like, of people that have sewer by physical address.
Yeah, a good idea. And you would have until,
So August 1st in 2028, right? We'd have to connect by,
Right, okay. Right,
notification letter would be out as of August 1st. And then the window for pursuing connection would be 3 years from that date.
should we mail them a list of the part of the sewer law that shows the variance
Process.
options? Like if you wanted to apply for a variance, how long the variances are? It's probably not one page that.
As long as it's fairly short.
Because I've already had a couple calls on, like, we don't want it, like,
To make life easy for you, to eliminate a call or two,
yeah.
I suggest do something short. Doesn't have to be lengthy.
You could, if you want to shorten it, you could also do a reference to the online
Oh,
code.
there you go. Let's
Oh, there.
just do that. Let's just do that. Let's just, in that letter, you have until August 1st and the variance, the process, application, the variance process, the chapters. That's perfect.
We could put a hyperlink in,
You get to field the calls.
or call Mike. Mike
so who's
Scott.
writing this letter?
I'll figure it out.
Anything else, Mike?
That's it, unless people have questions about certain things.
No. Okay, we have a guest speaker today.
Oh, wait a second.
Oh, sorry.
You have to approve, you have to do a resolution that we're actually going to do this, right?
Yes.
That we're going to require the people, right,
Okay.
to hook up.
Do we have enough details to do that at this point?
you want to do on Monday?
That's what I was thinking, is because we have more details from John by then, too.
Yep.
You got a busy morning on Monday.
What's that?
Did you have a busy morning on Monday?
This is where you delegate.
Have Monday off.
Not talking about that.
I guess you're paying for the paint up front, though.
Are people going to stay past the presentation? If not, I have one thing I wanted to discuss while Mike is here.
I have to go.
You have to go? So quickly then, I'm just going to mention that Mike Baker and I met with Cornell about the code of uses, as you guys know. And the code changes that we are suggesting, Mike Baker and I are suggesting for B&T Park and Health and Human Services are simple and non-controversial. So what I would like to do is to distribute the changes, the recommended changes. For example, they're not allowed to have pharmacy there now, like adding a pharmacy there. It's just a win-win situation for the village if they can do more things in those two zones, and it's a win for them if they can find more uses. So because it's so non-controversial and it's not about redefining anything really, what I would like to do, what I've spoke to Mike about, and what Ronnie's already said is okay with him, is can we just separate out the discussion of the B&T and Health and Human Services? And I would like to, on Monday, just put it in front of everybody who's from the Board of Trustees and the Planning Board and say, these are the changes. They're really just, it's much more simple than changing everything else in the code. And if that's okay with you, I'd like to move forward with this separately. And so, Mike, I can show you the list of, I actually sent it to Jody, I can send it to you too. It's like adding in pharmacy, we've talked about it before, adding in whatever small scale holiday sales or whatever things are that it's only in the village benefit, and they're the owners, they don't have to do it if somebody comes in and they don't want to do it. So because I think the rest of the code changes will continue to be complicated, I really just wanted to separate these out. And so I'm going to present that to you guys on Monday with a little more detail. I just wanted to say that.
Perfect meeting to do it.
Right, that's why I wanted to do it. Does anybody want, let's just move this part forward separately, because it's simpler. Of course, it's not super simple, because I just wrote down right now while we're talking all the different codes that have to be changed, and it's 3. But if we did one, we could do it all in one fell swoop, I think, pretty easily.
It's good they have to have their input, because they have the aesthetics that they want up there, and then we want some things to be able to improve it also, so it's good to have them here.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, at one point, they wanted it to be very strictly one thing, and that one thing doesn't really work anymore, so it's not in their best interest, it's on the village best interest, there's no real controversy of allowing them to have a pharmacy or whatever else, so we might as well just change that separately. Okay, that's all, sorry.
Thanks, Carol.
Do you want, I mean, we can leave, I mean, it's up to you. I mean,
It's not private.
I didn't get, Nick, Chris, do you guys have anything to add to John's report, things you've been doing, mowing, so forth?
Roadside mowing when I get a chance.
Well, John kind of covered that when he said what you're trying to do with the intersections.
Yeah.
So anything else you need to add?
Pat, this is Chris Vasky, and this is the new guy. Nick Dean.
Nick Dean.
The new guy, because he's the last one hired.
Thank you.
When I first met my husband, I called him New Boy, and like 24 years later.
Thank you, guys.
The pool boy or new?
New boy, the new boy, not the pool boy. No. That would have been a lot more fun.
Can I go ahead and go?
I have plenty I can do.
No.
Can I go? Because I need to have you here for this.
Yeah, I wanna say-
Can I go ahead and go? All right.
Oh, sure,
So I
John.
think really fast, been playing catch up since I was on vacation last week. Tax bills are now past due. There's still $290,000 that are unpaid. July water and sewer bills have gone out and are due by the 20th. I need to know who is gonna go to NICOM September 15th through 18th. We already approved myself going and 2 trustees. I just need to know which trustees are going so that I can register them. I already made our hotel reservations. Anyone?
So like I said, I hope to go, but It depends on if there's space. Obviously, Pat should go.
Are you gonna be able, are you available to go September 15th or 18th?
Check to make sure I can get off.
I still can't register anybody. Can I just go ahead, I can register you and cancel you, do you think you're gonna be able to go?
Probably.
Okay. So I'm going to register Pat and Carolyn. Carolyn, are you fine sharing a room with me?
If it's required by the village, yes.
We always do that to save money, right, Catherine, or Kathleen? Would like to approve the June 12th minutes. Kathleen sent me 1 month change, which I incorporated, and I didn't receive anything else, so are you okay with that? To approve the June 12th, 2025 minutes?
I move that we approve the draft June 12th, 2025 minutes.
Second?
Susan seconds. Any discussion or concerns? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It's approved.
I abstained, wasn't here.
Okay, one abstention.
Okay, there's a change order for RB Robinson Contracting that needs to be approved. John is still here. Needs to be approved for the 2024 utility and sidewalk improvement, Dart Drive, Graham Road West project. The change order includes 9 items that have been reviewed by Courtney and TG Miller's Dondi. And the net decrease is $2,912 for those 9 items. If anybody, did I send you guys that change order?
I could just give you a briefing of it real quick, if you like. Basically, we run into some infrastructure changes that weren't according to plan, and it cost a little bit more to accommodate those changes. So the decreased amount, so I think there was like a 12,000 or something like that increase in the amount of the contract, but we didn't plant all the trees. So we went down and the residents that we asked were the trees, if they wanted a tree to replace something that we cut that was on the property line. A lot of them didn't want the replacement, so we cut a few trees out of the contract.
Okay, interesting.
So that's why there's a credit.
Okay. Okay. I will move that we approve the change order from Robinson in the amount of $2,012.
$2,912.
912. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Change order is approved.
Okay, next thing is, Ronnie will be stepping down as co-chair to resolve the issue for having 3 trustees in the CS task force meetings. Hardaway will continue to serve as the required CSC coordinator for the village. Resolution that he circulated, appointment of Carolyn Yen as chair and Patrick Gillespie and Lynn Leopold as members to the Climate Smart Communities Task Force and Clean Energy Communities. Be it resolved that Kathleen Yen is hereby appointed as chair and Patrick Gillespie and Lynn Leopold as members to the CSC and CEC Task Force.
I will move that resolution.
Second?
Susan seconds. Any questions? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Okay, as was suggested at last month's staff board of trustee meeting, Hardaway has updated the Village of Lansing video conferencing procedures, which he sent to everyone. So the resolution will need to be to update the video conferencing procedure document to refer to New York State Open Meetings Law, Public Officers Law, Article 7, 103-A, video conferencing by public bodies.
I will move that
Second?
resolution. Susan seconds. Any discussion?
Just the ADA requirement.
What do you mean?
It's a broad resolution, but for the website, does it need to be ADA compliant?
I don't remember ADA being mentioned.
I'm just looking at Natalie's comment.
Well, how do you make it ADA compliant?
The,
On the
so
website.
that they can, it's an accessible, that
That's
I had
fabulous.
mentioned last time, yeah.
The videos have to be captioned.
Right.
What?
Videos have to be captioned. So yes,
Videos would be captioned automatically by YouTube. It would, the accuracy is something else, but they are captioned. Captioning can be turned on now,
right,
so,
We're okay with that.
as long as it's automatic by YouTube, yeah.
yeah. We don't, there's nothing that we can do to that. They automatically do that.
And does the
Years ago.
website,
Yeah, they did, but they do now.
okay.
I'll confirm, but I think that's fair. Any other comments? All those in favor, say aye.
Okay, and then to approve the vouchers?
Any questions about the voucher, this month's vouchers? Everyone had a chance to review? Okay. I will move that we approve the July 17th vouchers, abstracts and vouchers.
Second.
Susan seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay,
That's all I have. Speed round.
okay, okay. Thank you for being patient, Roxanne.
I don't know if I came fully prepared to integrate, though. Do I need to join the Zoom meeting to share the presentation? Can I share the presentation with you, or am I just?
If you're going to, we need to turn the TVs on, and
Isaac,
you have to just go into the Zoom meeting.
okay.
Happy baking.
Only,
Can you send me that link?
No,
And
it's
I
not to be.
have a different account that I don't have saved here. Can I give you my email?
Can you look in your email and just pull the one I sent you out in there?
Well,
That, I don't know
how I can do it from here.
Yep, I'll take a look at it, yeah.
That's my trouble. I have to log into another one. Give me, I can do it. Give me that.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I know what it is.
hi, Pat.
Isaac Walker with you?
Oh, right, I don't have internet.
Huh?
I also don't have internet. Yes, Isaac Walker's with us.
Does he have it? The presentation? He's on here right now.
Yeah, he probably does, actually.
Yes, I do have the presentation.
That's terrific.
Okay.
You're all around me.
So am I pulling up the presentation then, Roxy?
Yes, you're gonna pull the share.
Oh, yeah, right there.
Can you hear me okay?
That's not what I want, right?
Close, to- good, it's good enough.
Okay, good. Fast, there I am.
Okay.
You should be able to share now.
Which one did you open? Did you open
I'm pulling it up right now. Give me a second.
Did you do the one that says Lansing?
I will, yes. What? No, I'm not gonna do that one because it looks really weird, so.
Oh, you just changed the view. Just change the view to normal.
Roxanne Johnson.
Okay.
Let's try and make this. It's really painful to make the notes that you want.
Can you guys see that?
We see it, but not in projection.
Yeah, it's not in presenter yet. How about now?
There,
Yep, perfect. Okay, thank you. Thank you for working with us while we get through the technical difficulties. So I'm Roxy.
that was easy. Technology issues can be really bad, I think.
Yeah, it was actually pretty easy. That's because Isaac was on. So I'm Roxy Johnston. I'm the chair of the Clear Lake Watershed Intermunicipal Organization. I know nearly half of them pretty well, actually, now, but others not so well. So one of the reasons I'm here today is because there are new folks on these boards all the time. And so it's a good time to just tell people who CUIO is and what we do. Also, we'll be having dues increases starting next year, so we want to come around and again tell you what we offer, make sure you know what you can get out of CUIO. And finally, we have a not brand new, but relatively new watershed manager. And if you haven't met Isaac, this is a good time to get to know him as well. So I'll move right on through it. Thank you again for giving us some time on your agenda today. Real quick, I want to address that there are a lot of other watershed organizations, and it gets super confusing for people. So, because we all work together, and we all do different things, and they're all pretty important. So one of them is the Clear Lake Watershed Network. You may have heard of, you might be a member of them. They're a grassroots, stakeholder, individual focused group. They do outreach and education, and we contract with them to do most of our work. And the other one is the Community Science Institute. They do water quality monitoring, so without the data they collect, it would be hard for us to make good decisions about where projects need to be and what we should do to resolve issues. So we partner with all of them, and the other one I want to mention are the soil and water conservation districts. They do a lot of the same kind of work that QUIO will do, that's our short name, QUIO, will do for municipalities, but we're not in competition. For one thing, municipalities can access different funding than soil and water districts can, so we could actually bring more to the table working together. They also might have a capacity issue. They only have so many people to do work every year. So we bring more capacity to the table. Just want you to know that Isaac has already met with all of the district managers, has a good relationship with them. So I don't want you to ever feel awkward having a project and should you call one or the other, call them both and we'll tell you who's best suited or we'll partner. But now we're going to talk about municipalities. So real quick, a watershed is all the land that drains into a water body. It's that simple. Watersheds have subwatersheds. There's all this nesting involved. This picture shows, oh, I'm on the next one, Isaac.
Oh, sorry. You got to tell me if I need to change the slide.
They're not, I'm doing it here, yeah, I'll try to remember to say next. So there's all this nesting involved, so you can see Fall Creek, 6 Mile Creek, Salmon Creek. They're all a little different. They have their own land uses, their own characteristics. One thing I want you to try and do though is remember what this picture looks like, and then Isaac next. And what those lines look like on that picture, those are municipal boundaries. The subwatershed boundaries don't match. And that makes it really hard for any individual municipality to deal with all their water resource issues because they're not contained within your boundaries. There are problems or consequences upstream and downstream that you don't have authority over. So QUIO brings to the table a watershed perspective. So we're working at that whole Cayuga Lake watershed level. It's much easier for us to bring the partners together and move projects forward that are more effective. We also create a space where you can share both the benefits and the costs of projects by bringing those partnerships in and helping people make connections. Say that you have, the county has a great bulldozer, right, or something, or a big, I can't think of the name of it, the bucket. Excavator. But you have a really good engineer, on your board. And so people don't have to hire that out, they can work together. And also share the benefits. So those are a couple of the things that we bring to the table. Another thing is that you can do this all yourself, and this is what people have been doing forever, is each municipality is seeing a problem, trying to figure out what the best solution is, see if they need to contract with an engineering firm, what are the grants out there this year, how are they different, does it match up? What is your funding? That's a lot of work for every individual municipality to take on their own shoulders. And you don't have to, because QUIO has a watershed manager, and that is the majority of what the dues pay for. So this person, Isaac, is familiar with the whole watershed. He can get to know you personally and understand the differences in your municipality. And he'll be familiar with those funding streams. He'll have all those partnership relationships already. He has a background in this kind of work, which will be a lot of stormwater work, flood resilience, some stream work, ditching, infrastructure like that, culverts, and he can help you make it so much easier to get any of those related projects off the ground. We keep signing letters for people who've had engineers submit grant applications for them, and that's great. We're happy to provide that kind of support, but I don't know why they're not just asking Isaac to write up a grant for them. So they're paying a lot of money for that. So QUIO brings you a watershed manager as well. And the last thing that we do is again on that larger level, because there's subwatersheds inside the Key Lake watershed, but Key Lake watershed network is also a subwatershed of the Finger Lakes, of the Great Lakes, and some of these problems are bigger than our lake. You know, increased storm intensity, bringing down more sediment and erosion, more infrastructure damage, more nutrient loading. HABs are a burgeoning problem all around the world at this latitude. These problems are bigger. So CWIO regularly has state elected officials and agency folks at our meetings, so there's direct contact. We give direct input on any legislation they're talking about or share problems. So we really amplify the voice of local input into trying to get these larger solutions in place. And Isaac wants to know when I'm going to get to the next slide. So where do we take our guidance from for any of the projects or solutions that he might recommend? We lean into these 3 guiding documents. These are all what the state calls clean water plans. So if you reference them for a project, they automatically give you more points on your application, so you're more likely to be successful. The first one was developed by CWIO originally in 2001, updated in 2017. It's an all-inclusive water resource view of the Key Lake watershed. The HABs action plan from 2018 really is focused on CABs, and the TMDL from last year is focused on reducing phosphorus, which is also kind of about HABs and other water quality issues. So those are our where we get our guidance from. And the next thing is threats. On to the next one, Isaac.
Gotcha.
Thanks. So these won't be new to anybody, but the thing that I want to point out again is, again, these threats, they don't respect municipal boundaries either. So next. I already mentioned the storms and what's happening with climate change. We're going to have more of these severe weather events. We'll have noticeable droughts now, which we haven't had. Our infrastructure wasn't designed for this kind of weather. Our economic systems aren't set up for it, like ag. You don't drive around here and see a bunch of irrigation equipment, right? Things are changing, and the solutions are going to be on a larger scale, which we can try and address for everyone, but they're also local impacts, and we can try and get some funding and help make those repairs and make changes to the infrastructure so they can handle more of those storms. Next, Isaac. HABs we already talked about. The first 2 at the top are just stock photos we had in this presentation. The bottom 2 were taken in the second week of July, right here off Cayuga Lake. If you're in the network, you saw this update. The wave is from the old Boy Scout camp, and the dock is off of Goose Watch Winery. So we are definitely having issues with those. Next. And then there's invasive species. You think of them as a nuisance because it might be hard to fish, it might be hard to swim, it changes how you interact with the water. They can be more serious than that. They can actually change how nutrients move. The zebra mussels cleaned up the water. It's a lot clearer than it was before they invaded. That sounds like a great thing, right? Then hydrilla comes along, and it doesn't need a lot of light. So if you've cleared the water up so more light can get in, the hydrilla can actually invade more space. So they're working together, not intentionally, of course, but they can help each other out. The other thing zebra mussels do is they don't like blue-green algae cells or cyanobacteria. So as they're filter feeding, they're spitting those back out. So they're giving the cyanobacteria a competitive edge by consuming the other not so harmful bacteria. So they're serious issues. And we can help with all sorts of things on that. I think this is where I turn it over to Isaac to look at some solutions.
Yes, it is. Oh, but can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
All right, good. I apologize for not being there in person. I just didn't have time to make it over there today. So hopefully this suffices for the time being. So I'm just going to talk briefly. I'll highlight some projects that we worked on in 2024, and then I'll go into what we've been working on this year and kind of the next 6 months here of 2025. So 3 big projects we worked on in 2024. The first one was a salt storage facility for the town of Covert over in Seneca County. This had been a priority of QUIO's for a long time. Our technical advisory committee, had ranked this as one of the number one projects to focus on. They had submitted a grant a couple of times and not gotten it, and last year we were able to get it. So they are in the construction phase now of that. The second one that we worked on was the hemlock woolly adelgid treatment, which is another not aquatic invasive species, but terrestrial invasive species that I'm sure many of you know is killing a lot of the hemlock trees in the area. And so we partnered with the Finger Lakes Partnership for Regional Invasive Species Management, the PRISM, to do some insecticide treatment for woolly adelgid in state parks. And so two of those state parks happen to fall in the Cayuga Lake watershed, Buttermilk Falls and Robert H. Treeman. And I served and did the quality assurance for that. And then we also hosted, an informational meeting at Buttermilk Falls with the contractor who did the work. And that's the second picture there. And then third, and this is an ongoing project, and it'll continue into next year too. And then there's a second phase of it. But in Seneca County, partnering with the Seneca Watershed Intermunicipal Organization, we've been doing a ditch assessment. So we've gone around and looked at all the ditches and culverts, and have surveyed those. And then Soil and Water is following behind us. And noting, which of those culverts and ditches need repair, or, just need cleaned up, whatever they may need. And then after we finished out this grant for this, just the assessment portion, we'll then go back and apply for implementation dollars to actually fix, the culverts and the ditches and whatever needs to be fixed. And, as Roxy alluded to, right, all of these projects for the ditch assessment, we have to assess these with flooding in mind. And she mentioned droughts, but that's actually not how climate change is going to affect us here in the Finger Lakes. We're going to get hotter and wetter. So it's going to rain more. It's going to rain more intensely, and it's going to be hotter. So we're going to see more of these flooding events like we've seen really over even just the last few days, in the future. So, another thing that we offer, and Roxy kind of alluded to this in her introduction, but is representation of the municipalities. So myself and the executive committee, we participate in various groups, throughout the watershed, and there's a lot of them. And we try and represent the municipal interests on those, watershed wide or even just county wide groups. We also provide, various letters of support and public comment for projects or new laws that are going into effect that, if municipalities have a problem, or maybe they like the law and they want to comment that we support this. And so we do that and have a long history of doing that too. We also provide some outreach and education, which, this is technically outreach and education right here. But we have offered, I should say, 2 meetings so far of our in-person meetings that we could award certificates of attendance to planning board members to count towards their continuing education credits. And, really anytime you want us to come and speak on something, that's usually something we can do. That's part of what we're here for. And so again, the 2025 work plan, which, as I said the last time we did this, we're halfway through the year. So this is kind of a reality check for me to see if I'm actually getting anything done or not. But did I go too far? No, I didn't. Okay. So we have a few projects, this is more of a general list, but I'll run through a few projects that we're actually actively working on. One, and the biggest one probably that just about finished up with a grant for, is a stormwater management planning grant. So we have a few sites selected to implement stormwater controls and best management practices. And we've applied for a planning grant for that, which will fund, this is a partnership with the Seneca Watershed IO. And, it'll help fund mine and Ian, as the watershed manager over there, his time to go around and assess these sites and design the best management practices for them. And then we'll come back and implement those projects. We'll apply for an implementation grant. And so a lot of those sites happen to be in Tompkins County. Primarily they focus on the city of Ithaca just because they have a lot of stormwater because it's mostly pavement down there. So, hopefully we can help clean that up a little bit. Also working on a stream restoration project outside of Ithaca and a few other projects in Seneca County. And also, a lot of just providing information for people. And I know one thing we did was, Ronnie, I know you had asked for some input. I think you were applying for Climate Smart Communities designation and needed some input on all the different watershed plans that are out there. So, again, just another service that I'm here for that you're free to utilize anytime because you're paying for it. So you should take advantage of me. And again, this just highlights some of the priority focus areas in the work plan, and this is all really stuff that Roxy covered, and I think I covered too. And so I'm going to turn it back over to Roxy because she'll talk about the dues structure.
Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up here. So the original goal of the dues back in 2001 was to hire a watershed manager. The dues were set at $900 per municipality. That was clearly not enough to cover the salary, and there was a concept that we would lean into grants to cover some of the salary time. Grant funding kind of dried up in the early 2000s, and we just couldn't afford to keep the person on anymore. It was Darby Kiley, and if you know her from Tompkins County Planning. So we've been without a watershed manager for a long time. And that put us behind all the other watersheds that started to staff up. Many of the Finger Lakes have watershed managers now, and that means that they get to more funding and they get more projects done. And so Liz Thomas, the previous chair, made a big push to come up with a new funding formula, and we launched that in 2022. And we set the goal of $90,000. We looked at 90 and 130,000, and they chose 90 as probably more attainable at the time. And this was a big lift from $900 a piece. So that worked out great, but what we're finding now is that we are not actually meeting the New York State minimum requirements for exempt employees. That 90,000 isn't all salary. Those are friend benefits, and then there are a few other expenses out there. So what our salary ends up being isn't quite meeting it. So we need to increase our dues goal. We also would like to have a little bit of money, because we often find that there's a project, and it's usually a soil and water project, where they just don't have the match, the in-kind money they need, which might be small for an institution, might be $5,000, but it's a lot for a private property owner, but it's holding up a project that'd be really important. We'd like to have that kind of funding that we can help projects move forward, and also a little bit of administrative help. This is not my strong suit, and there's a lot of it to do. Plus, this job needs to be palatable for someone else when I stop doing it. So anyway, so we spent the last year plus looking at how to address the goals, and so the funding goal, and we've decided that really the equation that was developed is sound. It's based on how much acreage you have in the watershed. If you're a bigger town, you're gonna have more than a littler town. What percentage of your town is in the watershed, how much lake shoreline you have, all these things are static. And then the two big things that'll change over time is your population density and your total tax assessed value. So we just plugged in the new goal of 130,000 that was originally looked at, and then updated both of those values. So people changed a little bit on who was paying a little more and a little less if those values changed for you. So this is what the Village of Lansing's phased in new dues would be, and they come in at 80, 90, and 100%. To make it easier for folks to get to that full $130,000 goal. I will say there are four villages in one town where this phased approach actually has next year lower than your current dues because of changes in your tax assessment and population density. So we would ask that you please maintain the dues that you are paying until this phased approach exceeds that. Right now, your dues are 1,860. And they'll go down to 1,661, $199 savings if you drop down. But that's what the dues are about. It has really been working out. It's great. We were able to hire watershed manager Erin Norris. She was so good. She got headhunted away from us. We don't want that to happen again. We don't want to be losing people. So we want to stay above the New York State minimums, well enough above that this is a job where we can retain people once they've got all that knowledge under them. And then the next slide. This just gives you a breakdown of how that, that goal is met. The counties share 30% of that goal. Yeah, and the municipalities pick up the rest of that goal, 30,000. So you can see how much Tompkins County has the most acreage in the watershed, so it really shows what they have to pay. And in the next slide, the Village of Lansing is highlighted there, so that's the percent of, it's like 84,000 or something is the 70%, or 66%, it's 33 and 66% between the counties and municipalities. And that is really it for the budget thing. So what can municipalities do? So if you're already a member, please maintain your membership. It's really important. And appoint a rep. You have a rep and you have an alternate. So great, thank you. And thank you for your attendance. Sometimes we have trouble with quorum. Contact Isaac. Really the best way to recoup your membership dues is to just call Isaac and have him work on a grant for you, do some research, give you some materials, you know, use him like he said. Anything else, Isaac?
No, I think that's it.
Any questions? Yes.
2 questions. First, do you have, or Isaac, maybe this is a job that I can give you right now, what do you have developed relating to something more like would be relevant for our village? We don't have a lot of farms, we just have maybe some residential acreage, in terms of treating your lawns with certain chemicals that are having an adverse impact on the watershed. Do you have those materials developed, or is that a report that you might want to generate?
It's not something we had developed. I think probably the network has guidance for landowners for, treating their lawns. I know the Lake Friendly Living program has been pretty big on that. Yeah, I don't know. CWEO does not have anything that pertains to, fertilizer or pesticide or any kind of, that type of use on lawns, really.
Can I ask real quick, Isaac, is your camera working today?
It is. I wasn't sure if you could see me or not. I can turn it on.
Yeah, you'll be very little, but at least they'll get to see who they're talking to. It's always a little awkward.
Well, I would love it if you put something together for us about that, because that's a topic I'm interested in. I want to know specifically if you could look at what ChemLawn, well, their new name is Green Lawn, I guess, what they use and whether that's having any specific detrimental impact on the watershed.
Yeah, I can look into that and see what I can find for you.
Super.
And would we send it to you, Jody, or you, Kath?
You can send it to me, or you can send it to Kathleen and she'll give it to me.
And I'll forward.
I don't know if we have it. Okay.
I'll give it to you.
Okay.
My second question is how you picked Seneca County for your ditch investigation series, and if you're going to consider doing something similar in Tompkins County.
So this was, the project actually started before I got here, and it was spearheaded by the Seneca County, or the Seneca Watershed Manager, so Ian Smith, who works for SWEO. And so I think, I don't know exactly his reasoning for picking Seneca County. I imagine it had to do with a couple of different factors. One, we could do the whole county between Cuyo and SWIO working together, and two, the Seneca County Soil and Water Conservation is probably one of the easier ones to work with, especially for Ian. And so, I'm sure were more than willing. It gave them some money too. And Tompkins County actually does have a ditch assessment. So Soil and Water has done that. I believe it's finished, right, Roxy? Didn't Angel finish it?
I'm not completely sure, but you're gonna
Okay.
meet with her, right? Can you
Yes,
ask
that
her
is.
what she has for the village?
Yeah, I can do that. And if she has stuff, I will certainly ask her if she can share it with you. Yeah, so the hope is actually and this is what Angel and I have to meet about to figure out how closely related, the Seneca County one and the Tompkins County one are, and then hopefully we can kind of combine them, and we'll have, 2/3 of the watershed basically done already.
So just to follow up on that, if the best management practice planning grant is awarded, could another project be added on to that?
Yes.
That is the hope. We tried to build in some more money for us to add projects along the way. We started with just a list of, I think we have about 20 sites. They're small sites, they're not large sites. The goal of this was so that we would not have to apply for any permits, and we wouldn't need to have an engineer stamp on all of the designs. That Ian and I could design most of them ourselves. But yeah, we did put in extra money in the budget so that we could hopefully add some more sites as we move along.
Thank you.
Yes, so if you've got an issue.
I have questions, actually.
Great.
I have no issues.
Well, that's
Can you point me into the data, or is it just your opinion when you stated that we've been having more floods here and you pinned that back to climate change? That you said we've been having these torrential rains in this area, and that was a lot of it was caused by climate change. I just want to know where I can find that data so I can prove to the village residents that all these hot spots that's been coming through here, I believe they're caused by the jet streams that we're having. You may have different data and backup, so I can explain to our residents that, these torrential rains are all caused by climate change. Can you point me to that data?
Yeah, and I guess I should clarify too. More, I wanted to make the point that, generally the trend is we're going to be warmer and wetter. That's not to say that we're not going to have a dry year or a cold year or, whatever. I mean, this last winter, it got pretty cold for like 2 months.
So
yeah,
that was more of an opinion-based comment then.
No, it's not opinion-based. I'd have to try and find the data again. The federal government has just dismantled climate.gov, so finding this again might take me a little bit of time to find it. But
I
that is
appreciate
actually
that information so I can relate that to the residents of the village, because, we've experienced flood. I've been here 20 years and we've experienced floods, not much different. They're in different locations in the village. And, we've experienced this since the early teens, 2011 and 13, I think, is when we had floods here. And I would like to be able to, have that information so I could explain to the residents what is contributing to it. I know we have some forms of climate change, but these have been some weird rainstorms, and a lot of when I see them is from like the El Niñas and El Niño jet streams and yada yada. So that's all. I would like that information if you could come up with it.
Yeah, I'll see what I can find.
Check the Cornell sites. They have a climate center up there, and they'll have a lot of that resource for you, I think.
Well, it'd have to be more recent data. I mean, it would have to be like, because I've visited the Cornell websites. It would have to be more recent data than something that was done in 2018.
Oh, sure. Yeah. So my day job, I work at the City of Ithaca Drinking Water Plant. And what we take water temperatures every day. Because it impacts how our chemical treatment works. And so you can see the trend
Sure.
of the water, the warm.
Did
amount.
Cornell's Lake, does it correlate back to Cornell's Lake source cooling?
No.
It doesn't?
First of all, we draw from 6 Mile Creek. The town, Cuda Heights, Lansing, Dryden, I believe are all of the Bolton Point. folks that draw
Yeah,
from
yeah,
the lake,
I'm
yeah.
very familiar with that.
No, Lake Star's cooling has like a less than a 1% impact on the lake for temperature, and it's very localized. It has like a day or two of sun a year. And I can get you that research if you want to.
No, I'm good.
No, I know, it's good to have the stuff to back you up. But the droughts I mentioned wouldn't be like a drought year. What the predictions are, and what we're seeing is that when the rain events come, they're much more intense, and you get a lot more rain. So overall, we are definitely gonna get wetter, we're gonna get it in extreme rains, we'll get less snowpack. But in between those rains, it'll be dry, bone dry for a while. Something that we haven't experienced so much. Not like the droughts out west, but when we don't get rain for 3 weeks, we're not used to that, That's pretty dry. And that is already happening. Yeah. Did you have other questions?
Yeah, I have one more. When did the CWIO approve the resolution brought by John Dennis about the Cuba Lake Cargill Incorporated?
Oh, we've done two things on Cargill. I can't get into that here, Isaac. Can you get into those easily enough?
I'm not worried about if you could send me information on that.
okay.
I've been reading your minutes and I follow you because I get all your emails.
Okay.
So I dig into all the agenda packets and stuff. And I noticed you guys did sign the exact same resolution that he brought to you. Might have made a few changes in the words and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But to my knowledge, the village hasn't signed that.
No.
And there's a plethora of reasons of why we didn't. And
Right.
I would assume the wording in the agenda wasn't really up to the village standards. So I was just curious to know what was behind that.
So what's behind it from CWIO's perspective is that we really want the environmental impact statement. I know that one of the concerns is jobs, right? And impacting the economy, if Cargill is unable to continue to operate in the way they need to. Totally understandable. But if there is not an environmental impact statement, and there's not a plan for responding to subsidence, then when it happens, it will happen. Whether it happens catastrophically or over a long period of time, it will still happen. So if there's not a study that's been done and a plan, then you just have blind faith that they'll be able to respond in time, and that doesn't seem appropriate for all the people who are relying, on this water resource. We count on it. It's part of our economy and our livelihood as well. I think it's fair that we have an environmental impact statement and know that there's a solid plan in place to respond to an issue.
Real quick, I talked to Bolton Point General Manager about this a little bit, and he's been in communication with a lot of the people from this different organizations about the saline levels in Cuba Lake and stuff like that. And I want to say, I'd have to get the documents of where he's getting his information, but most of the saline is runoff from parking lots that come in the mall area, in the malls and stuff like that, different parking lots. They said, he quoted it, and I'd love to find that information about how it was the lion's share coming from parking lots and private land, residential stuff, versus what actually comes from municipal roadway infrastructure.
I don't know, I'd have to look that up.
Yeah.
Was it Steve Riddle?
Yeah.
Yeah, happy to ask.
I'm going to try to find that information too, because if there's any rules that kind of need to be made to kind of reduce the saline levels in Cuba Lake, it should start with residential and commercial businesses rather than come right to the municipalities and think they're the lion's share contributor to the saline levels in in the Cuba Lake.
Because a
Yeah.
lot of municipalities make an effort to split it with sand, or you have your.
Unfortunately,
Or-
it's very contradicting, because you got one stormwater, and the MS4 saying they don't want to have particles in the storm sewers, so you can't use a product that is abrasive. And then, so the village made a rule that we went back to all salt. This was many years before I come here, 20 years ago, that it's a salt-only municipality. Because of the stormwater, the MS4 made us do those regulations, because of the silt and the sand that gets put in the catch basins, that gets mixed with the oils, and just creates an overburden of product that you have to try to environmentally control, you know what I mean?
Do you try to spread ahead of a storm? So
No,
you use less?
that's a
You don't do
waste,
that either?
yeah, cars blow it off.
Do you have some way to pace it so that it's not just like dumping out?
We have a regulated way of doing it. We actually, so I talked to John Dennis about brine versus the granulars and stuff like that. There's a certain part of the granular that gives abrasive traction. You know what I mean? Where the brine is just a liquid that's easily, solution, pollution's dilution, correct? I mean, yeah, as a golden rule as we were raised when we were kids, you know what I mean? So, but anyway. Okay.
I was alive then too.
But anyway, I would just like that information. I think it's,
Okay, yeah.
if we're gonna quote it in our little PowerPoint presentations, I'd like to back up, so I can prove to my resident,
Sure.
the village, that we're doing all we can do for stormwater control, you know, stuff like that.
Are you writing this stuff down, Isaac? I don't have my pen with me.
Yeah, well, I didn't write that down because I thought that was a question for you, not for me.
No, write
I'll
it
write
down.
it down.
He's much younger than I am. He's my.
That's all I have for questions, thank you. Thanks for your time.
Isaac and Roxanne, don't forget that at some point, we will have this video up on our website too.
Right.
If you need to refer to anything, then you can come back and refer to the video to get.
Great, thank you.
We'll also have minutes, but sometimes it's hard to capture everything where a video shows everything, so.
Yes, yeah.
I have two questions, but it's related to the financing. Do you get 100% participation financially from all counties and all of the municipalities within the watershed?
We do not. Isaac, can you bring up that map that has the municipalities on it that are members?
I'm gonna have to click back a lot of times.
That's okay. It's not that many times. It's not quite 70% participation. It's the main 3 counties participate. And so all the municipalities that participate are paying their full dues. That didn't used to be the case. Some would just pay half or something. But we only have about not quite 70% participation. When we implemented the first big change in the dues, Liz Thomas went around and gave a lot of presentations, and we went from roughly half participation up to this not quite to 70%. So we did see an increase, and we're still pressing to get more participation. I don't expect you'll ever get all participation. Like the town of Tyre is in the watershed. I don't know, maybe it's 1/8 of an acre. So sometimes those towns will pay because it's $10, and so they're like, in the spirit of. Other times, like Spencer, I get kind of an angry email every year from Spencer because they have so little and they wish I'd stop bothering them. Right, yeah. I live in the town of Catherine in Schuyler County. All of the watershed is on the back of my property. I went and asked them, again, in the spirit of, would they let me pay the bill and would they appoint me as their rep? And they did, and then they've been paying the bill ever since. It's $19 now.
Right.
It's not a lot, but yeah, so we are missing some folks, mostly in the places that have less land.
Very small
Not
percentage.
completely. There are some other folks that have a decent amount that just haven't joined in.
Okay, and so how do you make up the difference financially? Is it a substantial amount of money that you do not receive to attain your goal?
So one of the ways that we actually were able to bring on a watershed manager right at the beginning, when we started the new structure, is that the Park Foundation gave us a bridge grant, and gave us $180,000 up front so that we had time to build up our participation. We sort of stagnated at this close to 70%. We do need to do better than that. It's one of the reasons that we're not, that we have to raise the goal now. The other thing is that a little bit over time, we've really been making a press to the state that the grants need to allow for more money to pay for staff time. They often don't, or they allow such a small percentage that it doesn't cover the cost of the time your staff put on it. So if Isaac wrote a grant for that and was trying to, we would actually be losing money on that, on many grants. But that is changing a little bit. The stormwater grant, if we're successful, some of his time will be covered, and we will always look for that to take that pressure off of the municipalities to cover everything and to cover for those who aren't participating. And the last thing is that when Tia Hunter was still active, and she's back now, healthy, and we'll be working with Isaac, I think, again, they were gonna look at some private funding sources to also take some of that pressure off the municipalities.
Okay. The pressure for our village is not that high, but I know that other municipalities may be having problems, but
Yeah,
we've been around with the organization for quite some time.
appreciate it.
I'm almost a founding member, I'm not sure exactly founding, but anyway, no, I knew that when I was the representative for the village, the liaison, that there were problems with some of the municipalities just saying, we're not going to pay this because we don't have enough watershed. So I wondered, it sounds like some of that's been resolved, but not quite all of it.
Not quite all of it, and I think that they just don't feel some of them don't feel they get their money's worth.
Right.
Or this doesn't seem like a priority area for their municipality.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to do more of these presentations and be able to say, you can get your money back. You just have Isaac do some stuff for you.
Right.
It's that, even if it's a lot of money. That Tompkins County pays quite a bit now, so does the city of Ithaca. Just get him to write a grant. There you go.
And you did have the obstacle of COVID,
Right,
and with Liz's transition, and with Tian being not advocating.
active, yeah.
I mean, you had a lot working against you as an organization.
It's been challenging, but I'm
And you didn't have Isaac, you didn't have,
over months without anyone.
yeah,
Right, so that just takes all your steam away. You don't actually have someone to write a
you
grant.
think you got somebody, and all of a sudden you don't.
Right,
And I heard that over time,
Right.
since I was involved, so.
definitely, right? So if Isaac stays with us, which he will have to, because he's not allowed to go anywhere, then he'll write 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 grants, and then people will see that this is actually working, and then more people will submit projects.
And just, yeah, and just as a comment on Isaac's present, what I was seeing was new energy, you know, and certainly working together remotely, and it was good to see.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad.
Yes, thank you.
I mean, that's what I saw in my little living room, looking at the Zoom meetings over time.
I will tell you, we sit there and every meeting, even the in-person ones, we're like, please give us a project, talk to Isaac, and nobody does it.
I just gave him a project.
You did, right? And we presented to Tompkins County, their peak committee, Monday this week, and all of a sudden there were questions. I think maybe this is, people just won't do it on the Zoom meeting, I don't know, or they don't.
Record it.
Collective, maybe they're not in their collective municipal mind, like you are in this setting.
No, I think that's part of it.
Yeah,
And we're so used to dealing one-to-one
yeah,
personally,
yeah.
and I had to get over that. Like, where are my people? And to read what's going on on the screen. Is a different mindset.
It is.
It does take work, and you can't be distracted. you have to be there
Right.
virtually in the group. So these meetings are important in person.
I agree.
You get to get out of the city.
Right.
The group networking is incredibly important, and the services you offer are excellent. So I really appreciate you coming and kind of giving a snapshot of everything, of the hard work you've been doing. And Isaac,
Thank you for asking.
and the outreach you've been doing in the educational programs also.
So actually, I mentioned Tire because they called, and I'm gonna go talk to them later this month. And in the end, it will mean so little to our organization because they're barely in the watershed. But as a partner, there might be something happening at that boundary that is useful, or even just sharing of resources.
Yes.
And now and again, I go to the Schuyler County WQMA, and they mostly aren't interested in the Cuyahoga Lake watershed. But again, we start talking to regional people there, and so it's worth it.
Yeah.
How about, wastewater treatment plants and handling solid waste and just the pollution in general and the contaminants and the need to upgrade systems? Is that anything you're indirectly related to also? Because it so impacts the watershed.
So not for building or maintaining treatment works, but for like the PFAS.
Right.
Things like that. We have definitely been in conversations with Anna Kellis and Rachel May for the legislation that they've been drafting to try and make that as effective as possible and talk to them about, I understand that it's important to really define and quantify what's coming from the wastewater plants, but don't neglect starting to ban the use of these, because every day that they continue to be, the wastewater plants can't do anything about it. They just can't, it's not a solution to add a treatment train to them, because that treatment will have to be treated as hazardous waste most likely. That's what drinking water plants are doing. They will put on granular or particulate activated carbon. And then when that gets saturated, it's now a hazardous waste. They even had to make a push against the federal government to make an exemption so that they aren't treated as like a hazardous waste generator, which again, they have no control over. So we've been having those conversations for the last couple of years. I'm trying to make sure that all of the pieces that need to be looked at are looked at. And in particular, I've been asking them to make sure that the state develops communication for the utility. So if you're going to force the utility to monitor, and I understand why, and I support knowing what's coming out the pipe, when they find it, inevitably they will, don't leave them vulnerable to these editorials that say that they're poisoning the lake or their people. I mean, that's just not fair. Have some kind of standardized fact sheet that they can give to their customers and say, this is where it comes from, this is what our treatment plant's capable of, this is the problem. So you can put it in context at least.
And that's how I feel about Cuyahoga Lake.
Yeah,
It's just what you just said,
yeah.
replicate that.
Yeah.
Let's see the facts.
You can tell I work at a utility sometimes. I'm a little sensitive about getting beat up. Any other questions? Thank you all so much for your time today. This is a lovely building. How long has it been here like this?
16?
12 years?
16?
Yeah, since 2016, about 9 years.
Okay.
Okay, I thought it was longer.
Yeah, I don't think it was here when my mom was here. It's beautiful. I thought it was the little building.
It used to
It was the
be.
little building, right?
Yeah, when
Your mom here? Did she work here?
No, she had a hip replacement a long, long time ago. We had to figure out where she actually lived to get that handicap sticker. And we were surprised. She was in University Park Apartments, and she lived in the Village of Lansing. Yep.
No one knows they live in the village of
Yeah.
Lansing.
Yeah. that's like you come by the airport and says, welcome to Ithaca. I realize it. We are in the village of Lansing.
It's like an area, right?
Yeah.
It's not.
And then having two school districts, depending on where you live in the village, you can go to Lansing or Ithaca, so it gets confusing.
Oh, that's super confusing.
Yeah.
Huh.
Thank you, Roxanne,
Roxy,
and thank you.
so much.
It's nice to meet you.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Bye.
Thank you.
Okay, we will pick up.
I'll email her.
Jody, just to clarify, did you take care of everything? Okay. So Carolyn,
The only other thing, in addition to the fact that I want to do all those code changes, you know, I want to just get the go-ahead on Monday, is Kathleen mentioned in her email that the town of Lansing, with regard to the trails, has officially accepted the bid from, I think the company's name is MJ, for a $50,000 grant to design everything from the schools down to Myers. So we are slowly but steadily moving forward.
Yeah.
Question? Oh,
Good,
yeah.
slowly.
at least
Steadily, steadily is good,
moving
steadily,
in the right direction.
steadily is good. So we are steadily. That's it for me.
No, nothing from me.
Nothing, okay. Patrick's gone, Kathleen.
I sent you guys 7 pages.
I read this, I know.
I figured rather than go through it all, it was just on the town board meetings. They did the flood and taxation like we did. They're going through the same things, comp plan, you know, zoning, update to align with the plan. The other thing was that I just wanted to mention, just to highlight, they have 4 solar projects going on, but they also did pass a resolution for the town to send a request to New York State, regarding the to take into account the cumulative effects of solar projects, rather than looking at each project independently, to look at the cumulative effect, because about 25%, don't quote me, it's whatever I wrote, of the land, of the town's farmland, which is just the amount of total farmland that's impacted by these solar projects was a concern.
The dairies.
Yeah,
I hear firsthand that.
yeah. And so, because it's not looked at as an overall, and the community has no say on that, so just wanted to highlight that. Climate smart communities, the the next meeting is the 31st of July. We can now say we actually did get.
Look at our fancy.
And Ronnie put the information, hold it up,
So fancy.
yeah. And
Where are we putting those?
Ronnie,
Right on your front door, you're up.
yeah.
Nope.
John and I were talking about that earlier.
It was.
I want to bring one to the block party for display on my new shelf.
I think,
You can have them, go ahead.
We're going to put one outside, I think, near our billboard, to let people who are entering our campus to know this, and we're going to try to find a way of mounting one inside the room or inside the foyer there to let people know as they come into the building that we've achieved this. So,
So a lot of people, more than 5 years, worked really, really hard on that.
yeah.
So, and as coordinator, you did a lot, so thank you.
Thank you, you're welcome.
Conservation Advisory Council, they essentially have 2 members, they function as a task force, so you can have a committee assigned a task force role for Climate Smart Communities. I'm just going to throw that out there so you know. And you have the minutes for that. And the meetings are recorded. And then the Environmental Management Council, I sent the link, but you have the presentations. The July 10th meeting was an in-person one. Drafting the 5-year strategic plan, and Dr. Seidel from Cornell provided a summary of the data collected, and also facilitated the group discussion for priorities, actions, and timeline. The NICOM webinars are great. The next one is the 23rd on wetland regulations and changes. And that's it. Oh, just a reminder, the cooling centers are the YMCA and the shops at the mall for in the village, and
What was the reason the other day they had an air quality?
we have a heat alert and the air quality
Yeah,
problem.
what was the reason behind it? Was it still wildfires doing it, or?
Well, there are wildfires going
Yeah, I know.
on, but there's also when you get the stagnant air.
Okay.
Dome, you
It wasn't nothing to really contributing, it was just the heat that was doing it, or something, the stagnant air, no wind or anything, I guess.
get stagnant then, and your heat gets trapped, and so you have, and there's all these wildfires going as well.
Yeah. New wildfires in Canada, and the smoke,
Air doesn't know boundaries.
the smoke tracking system from Canada shows the Northeast is going to get hit again with another wave.
I was just asking if that was what it was still,
Get
partially.
partially, I think it acerbates whatever, whenever we get a heat dome, and it locks in whatever pollution from vehicles and so forth get locked into the valley, then the smoke comes in and it just makes it worse, so.
And the state health department has, you can actually track it. That information's on there.
Yeah.
And I think I stuck the link in. I'm not sure.
Anything else? Okay, I've got a few topics. The most important one, obviously, is the email I sent you about the land purchase for the Village of Cayuga Heights wastewater. We will need to start thinking about how we will appropriate monies to support both the short-term Remington Road bypass, our portion of that, and the land purchase, which is still being negotiated. It's not really in negotiation, but we have to consider it. Do we want to, the thing we need to think about, and we don't have to decide today, is do we want to, the Lansings and/or the group of five want to purchase the land and own the land at the, no more than the assessed value, which is currently $400,000. The property was bought for $300,000 several years ago. So profit margin is 25%, but, or 33%. But the other, there's the one other model that didn't come up till the end of our meeting the other day, was that the Village of Cayuga Heights might, or we could, approach Sean Whitaker, the owner of the land, to hold a mortgage for us long-term. And I don't know if that's 20, 25, or 30 years, or if it's 10 years. When we do that, we would also be assuming principal and interest, so therefore that we would be incurring a debt. And I expressed the ability to Ruth and Linda Woodard that the village really did not like to do that. At that point, Brent Cross said, well, maybe the village of Cayuga Heights could do that, which I don't think he had discussed with Linda because she blanched, and that they would incorporate rate increases that would cover the.
But that's what I was about to say, if they're holding the debt or we're holding the debt, we're holding the debt either way, because they're gonna charge us for the debt.
That's right.
What, can I ask a quick question? What are they asking for what are they proposing the price be, Whitaker?
They were not shying away from asking or negotiating at the full $400,000, essentially, $400,000 assessed value. I raised the issue that the two properties, north and south, the current sewer treatment plant and the Cornell's Lake Source Cooling Plant are on properties, and their value per acre was about $160,000 to $165,000 per acre. The property that we're looking at is, if you break it into the acreage, it's $200,000 per acre. So do they want to try to negotiate it at $350,000? We haven't gotten that far yet.
So how much are they asking for the land? How many acres?
Well, right now, they cannot ask of municipalities any more than the assessed value, $400,000. We cannot pay more than $400,000 because of the county assessment. I did check with Jay Franklin about why that was assessed at such a high value when the two properties on each end of that were lower. And I also asked him how much Sean Whitaker had paid. I don't know if I sent this email to you, but it's not long. Let me read it. Sean paid $300,000 in 2013. We have a value of about $200,000 per acre for the parcel. I believe this was on the market a while ago for $1.2 million, but then dropped to $800,000. They thought there were more development potential there, but a restaurant hotel was never going to work there because of the sewer treatment plant. The main contributing factor to this value is the zoning classification of lakefront commercial. Parcels adjacent to this are not-for-profit parcels, so they are valued at less. So my mind is saying, so we buy a parcel for $400,000, a lakefront commercial, it is to be used for not-for-profit. Are we losing $70,000 on that deal? On the other hand, if we don't buy the land and it is sold to someone else, we lose the opportunity for future expansion on the wastewater treatment plant.
There was a building on it in 2010. Did they reduce the assessment at that point there?
No.
There was a structure on it and they tore it down.
No, I'm not aware of that. I didn't know the history.
Was it the Lowry?
Yes.
All right, they tore it down for some reason. I mean, it used to be a Lowry construction company.
Yes,
Building.
there still is, but they moved over to
Yeah.
Minnehaha Road or whatever.
Yeah.
Can we talk about, I have questions about the Remington.
Right.
So were you here when the Klein Road bypass was negotiated?
No.
Okay. So since I would love to use that as a model, but we don't want to follow that model, so it's not going to work, because at that time, the village took on way more than its responsibility.
All of the
We paid the whole
So,
thing,
the whole thing.
and they were
So-
supposed to pay us back and never did.
We would not use that model.
Why don't, do we have in writing that they were supposed to pay us back?
And the they, just to clarify, the they
Cayuga
is the
Heights.
village of Cayuga.
I understand that. So can we, when we negotiate the price for this one, can we say minus the money that you didn't pay us back for Remington, for Klein?
That's water.
That's where we should start with. Say, yeah, let's divide it by the usage minus the fact what you owe us.
Try that, and they could say no, but
I think we should start with.
we could, no.
Okay, let me ask a different question.
No, this is the discussion we need to have.
What were the proposed, knowing that the village of Lansing is not paying for it, what were the proposed payment structures for Remington?
We don't have any of the details yet, because we're waiting. We had asked for an estimate on TG Miller completing their engineering report about the Remington Road, and we have not received that.
So I saw Brent out there the other day with those guys.
We have.
It was very recently, like maybe 5 days ago.
It has not been forthcoming. I don't know what the problem is. All they have to do is tell us, how much money do you need to finish the report?
Well, they were looking over the edge, so.
So then, once we get that, we'll have a better idea, roughly, of how much that will cost. Linda Woodard said in the meeting, they estimate $1.2 million.
And how much do they owe us if they were to pay us back for Klein, what they were supposed to pay us back?
It was so far long ago, it only cost us like 90,000 or something. It's been.
It's like 25 cents on the dollar compared to what it's worth now.
Let's collect 25 cents on the dollar.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean.
No, don't you just think that we have a current situation, and past is past, and we move forward?
We're going to have to do that.
Something of both.
How about
I
the
would
Village of
start
Lansing
a
buy it?
negotiation point from.
Sorry?
Why don't the Village of Lansing buy it and rent it to them?
That'd be sweet.
For really.
That's another negotiating point.
Here's the deal, though.
Are we willing to pay $400,000?
That's a valuable piece of land for
It is.
Village of Lansing. Let me just explain real quick. If something happens to Yaws, which is, they're the operator of
Okay, yeah.
treatment facility, something happens to it, our collector line goes all the way down through there.
Yeah.
So it's like the final piece of the jigsaw puzzle.
Do we build our own sewer plant?
That's where I'm going with this.
No.
I know, but it's an option to say, you know, if something happened down the road, we may have to be forced to build our own facility.
That's true. No, that's a valid discussion.
Well,
But now remember, you cannot just build one. You have to get DEC's permission to build it. DEC is going to go,
It's an act of Congress to have anything, even Brent have an amendment to his permit is an act.
Yes.
It's very difficult.
It's very
And
difficult.
that, but all I'm saying, it's to pay Sean Whitaker interest to hold the mortgage on it. Bonds typically are cheaper than, municipal bonds are typically the cheapest form of interest that that anybody could get. He's not gonna hold it for 4% when the standard mortgage rate's at 7.
7 or 8.
Reserves that we could buy it outright.
That's what I'm saying. I don't feel like we should be paying more over time
I agree.
than it would be to just front the money, and then raise the assessment up and then sell it to them for what the next assessment's at.
Flip this land.
well, I also, to your point initially, and after Roxy's presentation.
Remember.
It is going to happen, that's going to fail.
Absolutely.
Please remember
Just remember,
that we are recording this.
well,
Giving away our strategy.
I'm just saying that you should really seriously think about it. The village has enough money. If it's gonna be $400,000, it's an asset, because our collector system deposits everywhere, right there.
Right. The other portion of this model is that the two Lansings could combine and buy it, where we would pay 50%, town of Lansing would pay 50%, and we as Lansings would own it. Because and this would have to be assured through contract, that the extension would only be used for Lansing sewage. It would, no other municipality would be feeding into that extension in the plant.
And would all of Lansing be only in the new portion, or would some,
All of Lansing, town of Lansing Village.
I know, but would everything from those two places only go to the new facility?
From what I understood, yes.
If this gonna come out of the sewer fund, town of Lansing doesn't have enough to join, okay? They would have to bond it.
They've got to have their discussion and get back.
That's right. We know that for, you know, I've been following their budgets a little bit, and their reserves they were just having enough to income expenditures, just enough to pay Rob Peters, pay Paul. So just think, if I can make a recommendation, just think about, if it's 400,000 is the price, it's a lot cheaper to buy it now than if they do a reassessment or something down the road.
Right.
And it changes.
John, I think you speak some wise words.
Yeah, I agree.
Very wise words.
And these were my feelings at that meeting too, so we're solidifying my feelings. I hadn't thought about purchasing it completely by ourselves, but that's a possibility. So I'm going to propose that we think about this, and at some point at a future meeting, sooner rather than later, we have an executive session with Natalie in place and get her in tune to this and say, what do you think we should do?
And how much are the two projects tied together versus two separate projects? In terms of our thinking and in terms of their planning?
Related to the.
Bypass?
The land.
The purpose.
They don't want to own the land. They want the Lansings to buy the land.
They want the ones who
They
start.
want the Lansings, town and
They
village.
basically want us to buy the land so that they're guaranteed in the future they could have
Yeah, and
sewer
they,
without having any liability.
So,
yes, let parcel, but they would, from the meeting, they would be engineering the expansion and designing it. And I believe
Then we charge them rent?
I think,
that's a possibility.
I think we should hold any more thoughts until we can go to an executive session, because I have a couple things to say that I don't want to say right now.
I think
And
that's a perfect solution. I just wanted to give you all a heads up about kind of what direction we're going. We've got the short-term solution, Remington Road, that's going to happen. The long-term, they're talking 15 years, 10 to 15 years. It just depends on the capacity. If they need to build capacity quicker, then we would have to do it sooner.
here's a little something, tidbits of information. PFAS, the coal granulated treatment, it's coming down the pike for Bolton Point.
At least from the state level.
Well, no,
If it goes to the
even-
EPA, that's where it's gonna get bad. So just talking with Steve the other day a little bit, I mean, he's got to finish up this one capital project and, the buying of the property down there, and then their expansion to that, and then they either want to resell or something, the remainder of the property that they don't need. But with this PFAS coming down the road, he's talking $20 to $30 million upgrades
Yes.
to the water treatment facility.
Yeah.
If that happens there, that also may happen down there. The EPA may require that they treat different levels.
Not in the next
Okay.
3 years, they won't.
Huh?
Not in the next 3 years, they won't.
No.
Probably not in the next 7. Maybe 8 years from now.
But,
That's a slippery slope. Let's don't go too far.
well,
Yeah,
this is.
I agree with you.
He was talking about the last engineering
Right.
committee meeting at Bolton Point.
Right.
And you can't just say, we'll wait and see, because it's,
Yeah, it's creeping forward.
Let's just say it's not the EPA. Let's just say it's the DEC and at the state levels.
Could be, yeah.
We all know they can have more strict levels
sure.
as in anything, right?
I mean, if we learned
I'm just saying, you might want to kind of start assets, stuff like this, because then we'll have the capabilities to upgrade and things like this. And that's all. I have just 2 more things, but I'll write them down.
Save them, John, because I think we'll have an intense executive session.
If I'm invited, that's all. Yeah.
So I think our next step is set a meeting date for an executive session.
Right.
If we don't have all of the information up front, that's okay.
Right.
We can at least,
I was about to say, maybe we'll see when we get this report on Remington at least, because that seems like it's coming sooner rather than later.
so
Right. Well,
when, Rodney, are we going to have our?
Why do they need to do Remington if they're not even using Klein Road?
they are using Klein Road, and that's.
But not here.
What they want to do is divert Ithaca, the town of Ithaca, more towards the city, and that'll take some pressure off from the Cuba Heights treatment facility for the Lansings. You know what I mean? And so what they're doing is they're just diverting town of Ithaca. Ithaca will no longer, they don't want a relationship, kind of the gist of things that I got.
Why wouldn't the town of Ithaca pay for Remington? If it's only.
Because it's free and, if it's free and available capacity up for the village. I don't know the answer to that, but that's what I'm speculating.
Right. And quite frankly, we won't know until we get the report of how it's going to be engineered and what it's going to do. We don't know. And we can't get the report until they get their money and until they tell us what it's going to cost. We can't give them.
TJ Miller's done the report? Or doing the report?
They started a report, but they have not finished it.
Oh.
To finish the report is supposedly.
I'll pry into that a little bit, to see where the status is, if you don't.
Know that the Brett Cross is prying into it also, but they just haven't heard a word. So the executive session, I can't say. I don't think Monday night's a good night because of the joint session. It's going to be
No.
fairly.
I can wait until the first meeting in August.
But I do believe you have to act.
Yes, because if the land is purchased out from under us, it's gone. And we don't have the ability to expand.
The problem what happened to that land is they saw that sewer trunk line that goes behind them and they thought they could connect to it. Well, that's basically a collector system, but it's a transmission system more than it's a collector system.
Yes.
It doesn't have the opportunity to connect.
Yes.
And that piece of land is actually in the town of Ithaca and not in the village of Lansing. So they couldn't hook with us without an outside sewer agreement, outside user agreement.
It's very.
It got very complicated, quick.
I doubt that the land's going to sell fast, but I can't promise.
Don't you never speculate. You never know.
So I just wanted to let you all know that these discussions are going forward. We will have to plan budget-wise for the Remington Road. Don't know what our portion will be yet. And down the road, purchasing land potentially purchasing the land for future expansion of the Village of Cayuga Heights wastewater treatment plant. So now you're sort of aware, and I will keep you informed of anything that happens. We're all going to share. I'm going to tell them that I shared the information with you, but we're kind of waiting to see what's going to happen. And that's all I promised them. I definitely did not commit the village to do anything because it's our decision. So, anyway, thank you. We have our joint planning board meeting Monday night. And remember, the meeting starts at 7.
No, it doesn't. Starts at 7:30.
Last time we started at 7.
No, because this is a Board of Trustees meeting. It starts at 7:30, and when it is during the planning board, it's at 7.
Okay.
It is 7:30.
Good, because I wanted to let everybody know to be sure you're early, so we don't have to worry about that. Okay. False information, false news. Got this. Thank you, Jody. You saw my email about the celebration of life for Don Hartshill, Wednesday, July 30th. Okay. So that will be at the Rainick Golf Club, also owned by Sean Whitaker, by the way.
That's his name.
Let's see. I think.
I knew.
Gary Sloan, is that on it too?
I believe that's everything that I have for this afternoon. So,
Buddies.
thank you all for the good discussion. I promise to let you know what I hear back from T.G. Miller, Village Council, Town of Lansing. I know that if we want to try to divide the purchase of the land up among the municipalities, I think the two Lansings are going to be paying close to 70% of the cost, and the rest would go to everyone else, but that hasn't been decided either.
As long as the distribution of voting members is equal to the distribution of the way the property is splitting. That was one of my things right there. You just touched it. Because in Cayuga Lake or Bolton Point, it's 2, 2, 2, 2, 2 in each municipality.
Right.
If we're the 68% shareholder contributor to that piece of land, then we should be 68% voting members. Because you can get into a quick stalemate on making decisions.
Yes.
Which exacerbates timing of everything.
the negotiations, the contractual negotiations, and Carolyn, I know you understand this, are going to be delicate. So we will have to make sure that we're covered. And so, anyway, this is just the beginning, but we do need to be thinking financially and budget-wise on how to pay for these things. So that's all I have for today. Anything else? Anybody want to move to adjourn? Kathleen moves.
I'll second.
Carolyn seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Jody, I sent you a request for certain sections of the code in Word, so I can edit